What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the low budget LCS. We are here for some commercial playoff action, and these teams are actually already into draft, so I will save a lot of the preamble here. Joined with me tonight, we've got Boss Kitty on the cast. How are we doing tonight?
Doing great. What about yourself?
I am doing good, took a little 20-minute power nap not too long ago. Excited for some commercial action. And yeah, these guys blitzed through that draft phase, or the ban phase rather. A lot of 80 carries taken off the table, and first pickup of Jinx for the Evokers.
Yeah, I mean, Jinx is one of the most powerful ADC picks right now. You pick her once, if she gets one good team fight, it can roll over a game. So I think a great first pick here from NG Evokers. And it looks like the first response from the Open Nexus is the Veigar. What do you think about this?
Veigar, definitely an interesting pickup. Of course, Open Nexus, we were talking about a little bit before we went live. These are some new faces to the LBLCS. This is, I believe, their first time being streamed. So we don't know a whole lot about a lot of these players. I'm taking a kind of look a little bit at the players. Looks like Thulam, the 80 carry, kind of the star, quote unquote. Having a really good season, doing pretty well in solo queue. I expect them to be kind of the focal point of the squad. A Mumu picked up for what we assume is in the jungle, and Emilio gonna be the pairing with that Jinx. Can definitely cause some havoc for an Amumu for a Veigar. Don't hate what I'm seeing so far from Nefarious.
Yeah, they got the Milio, great disengage. If the Mumu gets on you, he can push him away. He can cleanse the ultimate stun. If it goes into a big team fight, so Milio definitely a good pickup here by them. The Open Nexus are going for the Yordle squad so far. I'll see if they want to continue with that trend.
Yeah.
But definitely some non-standard picks here. The Veigar, the Amumu, you don't really see them that often. So I think it's really cool to see them pulled out here by the Open Nexus.
And we are gonna get the NX Angel Volibear. For those who don't know, NX Angel has been playing a lot of he's actually referring to himself as a less force, playing the same champs, playing the same style. I've been spamming the Volibear in solo queue. It is super strong, and I'm very excited to see this get piloted. I think it's a super good pick into these tanky junglers such as a Mumu. So I'm excited to see that. And Ornn is going to be that blind top lane pickup. So really interesting that there's not a whole lot of, typically you see a lot of mirroring in terms of those first picks, but we've got an ADC and, ADC support that are needed on the Open Nexus. And we've got solo laners on blue side.
Yeah, actually complete opposites there, which is very not standard, like you said. Normally after you pick a lane, they try to counter pick the same role, or they've already seen who they're against, so they just go ahead and pick it. But definitely some interesting priorities here from each team. Looks like the Open Nexus is definitely going for that scaling composition. Veigar obviously scales infinitely, and the Ornn is really good late game. It seems that they're trying to kind of invest in that 5v5 team fight when we get towards the kind of the mid-late game.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely understand taking away the Aphelios. Again, these super strong hyper carries. I believe Rufu's got a pretty strong Silas as well. So a lot of bans making sense here. And especially when you look at the Ornn, you've got the Amumu. One of, if not the best ults that a Silas can take. And I would assume on the Open Nexus side, I mean, I don't know. I guess you could go either way. Your best player is probably that 80 carry, so maybe it makes sense to save them for 5. And that is what they're going to do with the Yuumi pickup.
Yep, saving that 80 carry counter pick. They want to see the whole team. They want to make sure whatever they pick is going to work really well into their team comp. And so they pick up the Yuumi, which actually I don't hate. I think it makes a lot of good sense here. You already have your front line with the Amumu Ornn. Both of those are also engage. So just an enchanter, keep your team safe. The Lulu's already banned out. I think Yuumi's a fine pickup here.
And for some reason, according to the chat, the draft has frozen, which I'm not sure, because I'm seeing it work fine on my screen. And I'm looking at the Streamlabs, and it does appear to be frozen. So I'm not sure what's going on there. We will try to audio book our way through the rest of this draft for you guys. The past couple streams I've done, the draft site has just been a little scuffed. Yuumi was picked up for the Open Nexus, so they're saving 80 carry for last. And the set was picked up in the top lane into the Ornn, and Cassiopeia is that mid lane answer into the Veigar, which leaves just our AD carry pickup here for the side of Open Nexus.
Yeah, interesting to see what they'll go for here. The Casio, kind of an interesting pick into the Open Nexus. They don't really have a lot of dashes right now, which is usually what you pick Casio into. Try to ground them, try to make sure they can't get into your team. Definitely helpful for the Amumu, but we'll see what they go for here. And it looks like it will be the Sivir.
The Sivir pickup into a lot of these champs that kind of want to run in at you. You know, the Volibear of the set kind of makes sense. A little bit of utility from the side of the Open Nexus. Take a look at these comps. Kind of what are you seeing? What are you thinking?
I think for the Open Nexus, they're definitely investing in that scaling. You know, Sivir Yuumi is not a very strong bot lane early game. They're trying to fight those 5v5s. My only concern for them is the short range, though. They don't really have a lot to go for in terms of poke or in terms of kind of wars of attrition. They kind of have to go all in, push their buttons, and hope they do more damage when it really counts.
Yeah, I mean, you take a look at red side, and there's not a whole lot of consistent damage, I would say. You know, Sivir's going to chuck the boomerangs or the crossblades, I guess technically they are called. And Veigar will have that burst, you know, if they're able to get a good cage, get a cute W. But other than that, you kind of got two big frontliners and a Yuumi. As it looks like we're getting a little bit of bathroom breaks, gives us a chance to vamp just a little bit. I definitely think on paper I prefer blue side's comp. I think you've got the Jinx, you've got the Amelia to protect said Jinx, you've got these really strong frontliners as well in Volley set, and then Cass can kind of shred through these tanks as well. So I feel like both comps kind of do a similar thing, but just the damage profile is a little better from NG Evokers. But end of the day, draft's only half the game. You know, you got to actually take these champs onto the Rift. You got to pilot them effectively. And kind of taking a look at how these teams have piloted their champs this season. Both teams come in around the middle of our standings. It looks like the Open Nexus was 5-3 in terms of their games played, 11-7 in terms of like their overall matches. So pretty solid season for their first time in the LBLCS. NG Evokers, which have a lot of returning faces, they went 4-4, 11-8 in game score. So despite losing an extra series, a lot more of their games were 3-game series by the looks of it. So on paper, this should be a very, very even matchup.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it. Both teams definitely have a lot of powerful tools to get that team fighting online, to get those picks, like you said. I mean, they may not have a lot of consistent damage, but if Veigar can get 1,000 AP, it doesn't really matter. He clicks R on someone, they're gone. So I think
true.
both teams definitely have a way to play the game. I do agree that I probably prefer blue side, though. I think the Evokers here do have a lot more consistent damage, like you said. I think it's a lot easier to play out their draft when it comes to just simplicity. Keep the Jinx alive, do some damage to the front line, play front to back. The fight's probably pretty easy from there as long as nothing goes wrong.
Yep, and especially when you kind of look at things like like economy, like commercial, a lot of the times it really comes down to the comp that has the ease of execution, and I think the ease is kind of there on blue side. But again, you got things like the Ornar, you got things like the Amumu R that blue side doesn't necessarily have those great point and click buttons, and who doesn't love point and click buttons? Volibear's got to run in with the Q, has to try to get on, you know, the Sivir too. I guess to their credit, is gonna be a hard target for NX Angel to get onto, because you know Volibear CC he just sprints at you and presses Q. Set gonna have to look for a good dunk angle on one of these tanky frontliners. Cass not necessarily gonna try and get in range of that Sivir early, so Thulam could pump out the damage here. Predictions are live. I know that you guys all love to gamble. You all love to throw your schmeckles down the drain. Again, we do not give financial advice here at the Low Budget LCS. We only encourage you to gamble. Not gambling advice. We'll take a look and see who the early bets are favoring. Slight favor to NG Evokers. Not a whole lot of channel points out there just yet. We'll see if people start throwing their money around.
Yeah, I mean, get your predictions in now before the game gets going. I think it'll definitely be a close one, but I think it'll be a really fun one. Hoping for some eventful gameplay from both sides.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's in commercial. A lot of the game comes down to team fighting, comes down to kind of the chaos that ensues in that 5v5 action. Not as much focus on like split map plays or split pushing. Gonna be exciting. Again, I love commercial. I have followed the commercial league for a long time. Used to do some write ups back in the olden days of 2023. One day they might come back. But commercial's always a fun league to follow. I feel like it's where you see the most parity. A lot of anyone can win on any given day. There's no hard stomping favorite. And so I'm excited to see what we get here, as we're going to have to do that little 3-minute spectator delay. Unfortunately, we haven't found a way to get around that one just yet. Sammy asking for a compliment, but I don't see one. Okay, I do see a caster compliment cashed in. Okay, in my defense, Sammy, at first when you said compliment me, I'm looking at the phone version of Twitch and I don't see that. I now see you. I see it on the desktop version. So here's your compliment, Sammy. You have been a massive asset to the staff team of the LBLCS for a couple seasons, right? But particularly this season, I think you, among some other people who I won't cast a shadow over your compliment, but I think you did a lot of work, with like the streaming schedule and the roster tickets and kind of just keeping the league afloat on that day-to-day operation. I'll speak on behalf of the admin team and say that they as in we appreciate the work that you do. And for your sake, with this compliment, hopefully you're going to be able to enjoy a win for the boys back home in NGO. Or I guess it'd be NG. You'll have to correct me if that's wrong. But I think it's Nefarious Gaming. There's probably no O in there. Sammy, organization owner of Nefarious.
Mm.
Yeah, NG. Your team was the NG Outlaws. That is what I believe it was, and there it is in the chat. Yeah, I'm like I said, my eyes are gonna be on this Volibear, just because I've been playing it so much. It's always gonna draw my attention when other people are playing it. I want to see Angel go the fun cosmic Navori build that is such a menace to deal with if you get from ahead. Does really well into these tanky members. Can kind of just shred Amumu, can shred Ornn. I want to see them full clearing, because you look at the gank setup, right? There's not a whole lot bot lane, not a whole lot mid lane. Top lane, maybe with the set, pulling back the Ornn, but Ornn also has the Unstoppable, and he's a massive tank. So this does, to me, kind of seem like an ABC kind of game for Angel. Always be clearing.
So you said you've been spamming the Volibear. How's that been working out?
It's been good. It's been good. At one point, on League of Graphs, I was the number 7 NA volley.
Wow.
Really, really strong. It's really, really good. Because you can use full clear super fast. You're at the objectives. You stat check anything with melee. And then once you get those first 2 items, you can just kind of go full tank. And then not only are you doing a ton of damage, but they also can't kill you. It's really, I don't know why more people aren't playing it, to be honest. I think it's been pretty good for a while. I've been spamming it for kind of like a month and change there, probably more like 2 months at this point, to be honest. Because at one point when I got back into ranked recently, I was down in D4, but actually brought myself all the way back up to D140 LP. Took a little tumble. We're on the way back up as we are in the game. Now I will say, Angel, I would have gone lethal tempo here. You got these two beefy top laners. Could run roughshod with the lethal tempo, as it looks like the spectator is working on the stream. I'm always a little hesitant. It always scares me just a little bit. But we are out here onto the Rift for game number 1. NG Evokers versus the Open Nexus. Let's see where our battle lines are drawn. We'll get up our scoreboard. We'll get up our objectives. Zoom us out. And here we go. Looks like we are going to get potentially just a standard 5-point from both sides. Set actually kind of walking up with the Volibear. So maybe they look to get maybe an aggressive ward on the red side. Again, just looks like a not full 5-point from either side. Slowly kind of working this one out.
Yeah, just trying to get some information. I think the level 1 is insanely valuable in League when it comes to just trying to figure out where your enemies are, maybe where the enemy jungle is starting. And getting those early wards can do so much to just keep your laners safe. I know you said in this game, you know, ganks don't really look good for either team, especially for the Volibear on blue side, but getting information can still make it just so much easier to play the game. And that's what we see right here. They get the early Raptors ward. Now the Evokers will have a little bit of extra information there in the early game.
Yeah, but you can see Sarcolex, where I'm sure that I'm going to butcher that 3 times throughout this stream, getting a ward on Angels Raptors. So both sides are going to have that intel. I really like kind of walking in with the Volibear E. You know, you're able to kind of zone control. It's either, you know, they got to suck it up and take a pretty good amount of damage level 1 from your E, or they've got to walk away and you can walk in, get that vision. And it looks like both our junglers starting at these blue buffs.
Yeah, so they're going to be kind of split on opposite sides of the map by the end of the clear. Assuming they both full clear, Amumu will end up top side and Volley will end up bot. So we might not see any early action on the Scuttle Crabs, but I wanted to mention too, it looks like pretty much standard runes for every champion in the game. The only real like difference I think might be the Vigar. We got some trading in the top side already though.
Really heavy there from Rufu, doing a ton of damage to the free truck on this Ornn. Gonna get nice and comfy with the tower for a little bit, but as the Ornn should be okay. Looks like they did go that refill pot start. I know that's something that, you know, Ornn sometimes go for. They save their gold, try to get like a quicker impact buy. As yeah, we're gonna see just junglers heading the opposite directions. Neither jungler has seen the other, so they can kind of put 2 and 2 together. That hey, the enemy jungler probably started on the blue side, and they're just trading, just continuing here. Prescription gonna take a little bit of damage here from Thulam.
Yeah, I mentioned earlier that this Sivir Yuumi is not really a strong early game bot lane, but unfortunately for Evokers, neither is Jinx Milio. So they're kind of getting beaten up. It looks like Thulam's
playing
very
aggressive here,
confident.
just walking right into them. Does not care. Wisdom gonna get pretty chunked out. Has the barrier, has to flash, gonna survive, but that is not what you want to see. Jinx down both the summoners, and Amumu should be circling that one here in just a couple minutes.
Yeah, not what you want to see at all. That is on your AD carry, both summoners down. Those are such valuable tools just to keep this damage threat alive. And Thulam, honestly, taking over the lane phase early game here, has already put so much work into just making that ADC gap really apparent.
Yeah, we were kind of talking about it. I think it was right before we went live. Thulam has had a really, really good season, both in terms of the LBLCS and in their solo queue performance. Having a bit of a heater. So no surprise to see them doing well. We are going to see Amumu finally head up towards this top side. Going to be a little later on the Scuttle than Angel on this Volibear. So slight tempo advantage in favor of the Evokers.
Yeah, and pretty uneventful game state here. Since the junglers went to opposite sides, there's not a lot for them to interact over. But you know, both teams kind of like their scaling, like their items. I imagine we'll have a pretty uneventful early game here.
Yeah, Prescription got to be a little careful here. I know you'd love to clear out that ward, but you are just Emilio without the reinforcements of your Volibear. As Sacrolec's going to look to maybe go in on MXL. Good dodge out on this cast. And Amumu hasn't gotten a reset off yet, so Angel has this early tempo to kind of clear these camps a little quicker.
Yeah, it looks like the Volibear is building into that Cosmic Drive, as you were mentioning. I'm assuming that's what that Aether Wisp is building into.
Yep.
And Amumu is able to match that base now. We'll get the I forget what that item's called. The AP burn item.
Faded Ashes.
Faded Ashes, that's right, thank you. Yeah, so able to get the Faded Ashes, make that clear speed a lot faster. We'll see which jungle is able to kind of take priority over this first dragon.
Yeah, as Thulam just going to continue to put the pressure on. Trap's not going to land there onto the Sivir, and she's just running down this Melia with the exhaust. Heal comes out from Prescription, going to have to flash away from the Q, and now the trading coming back in favor maybe of this Evoker's bot lane, but now Thulam just going to run back up, has the cooldowns. We should be seeing a kill here in some capacity. Jumps on the Q, actually hits Prescription on the backside, and that is first blood over to the open Nexus here.
Oh, and that's so painful for the Evokers. Thulam is just
flash in from Thulam, and he's looking to continue this. Do they have the damage? They are going to be able to pick up that auto. Does Thulam get out? The tower shot does not come through. Double kill unofficially for this Sivir.
Wow, what an amazing play already from the open Nexus bot lane. And these teams really don't want to quit the action. Top lane already some more scrapping, although with top lane meatballs they tend to kind of just hit each other. Nothing really happens. But in the bot lane, we saw a lot happen. We got the double kill on the Sivir. She already has the Cull in inventory. This is a scaling 80 carry, lethal tempo, and we all know how scary that Sivir can be in the mid game. I would be very scared if I was on the Evoker side right now.
Yeah, absolutely. The Sivir already nice and strong. They're going to buy that Cull because they're feeling in a good spot in the lane, so they'll get that extra gold, that extra value. Volibear booking it up towards these grubs. They're kind of recognizing like, hey, things aren't going so hot, but I gotta pivot my gameplay, head up towards this top side. Where to their credit, Rufru is doing pretty well on this set. Has been kind of pushing in the Ornn, up about 20 CS. Doesn't look like Sarcolex is looking to contest the grub, so we will see that early objective trade. But I think all things considered, you are chilling if you are an Open Nexus player.
Yeah, I mean, the dragons are often, said to be better for scaling, better for those raw stats, the team fights.
The teleport actually came through for the cast, gonna immediately get put in the cage, double R on the cast, and Amumu is just getting shredded here. 1v2 kill for MXL. Do they get traded in response? No, they do not. They have the flash. Angel looking to run down. Set is here as well. They are not gonna catch this Veigar, but that is a massive trade kill in a 1v2 for MXL.
Yeah, MXL does have, did have to burn both summoners there, the teleport back, the flash to get away, but gets the kill onto, is it Sarcolex? Sarcolex on the Amumu, gets the kill, really good outplay, and we've seen some really good dodges already from MXL, really playing this mid lane really well so far.
Yeah, playing it well, doing a solid job in the mid lane. That gives them a kill back in their pockets, of course. Current league state, you always got to be thinking about these feats of strength. They're not as impactful as they once were, but they are still a nice little bonus to have. Next kill for the Open Nexus does give them the feats of warfare, I believe they are. I should know what they're called, as Wisdom just in such a tough spot with this lane. The wave is kind of pushing away from them, and it's just disaster, potentially in the bot side. Amumu is down here as well, has the Curse of Sad Mummy, but not going to look to force anything. Sarcowex.
Yeah,
Sarcowex is what the chat is saying, and hopefully they're not giving us bad information. There's a very good chance that we're getting getting manipulated here, but that's a risk I'm willing to take.
Agreed. And the jungler is still on opposite sides of the map here, so we see it looks like NX Angel is going for the invade. They're kind of vertical jungling here, it might be the more proper term. But looking to steal away some camps with that extra tempo. The Volibear has kind of always been one step ahead of the Amumu for most of this game so far. So using that tempo to a good advantage and playing off that topside lead that the set has been able to gain.
All right, and just like that, and we'll actually have to hold that thought as Wisdom again just going to have to run under their tower. Is going to hit the zap, but it's just going to get blocked by the spell shield. We have an it's pronounced like, so as soon as we get a pronunciation in the chat, Luffy being the harbinger of chaos that they are, it's now pronounced Sarcolex. So whenever we refer to a Mumu, it has to be a Sarcolex.
All right, Sarcolex.
We'll have to see how we got there. But yeah, Volibear on this this invade, it just has that advantage. I mean, you do more damage in the one-on-one with the Amumu. Had the more impactful items in base. Really solid stuff. Looks like Sarcolex maybe looking to go for a little bit of invade of their own. I don't know if you really want to opt into this one, though. They're just going to jump over. They're actually going to get spotted out. Amumu has to run here. They're maybe looking for a dive on this bot lane. It feels pretty risky with Volibear around, but Jinx is super low. We'll have to see if they look to continue that one up.
Yeah, already about a 20 CS lead there between the bot laners. They're putting a lot of focus here. Now it looks like Angel's trying to kind of stop the bleeding in the bot lane, maybe help the Jinx not die to that dive. Actually did a really good job covering there to ensure that the laners can stay alive, can get their levels, and hopefully not die again to Thulam here in the bot lane.
Yeah, taking a look at your next objectives. Grubs in about 35 seconds, Dragon in just about a minute. So Angel could look to make that play where, get maybe all the grubs best case. You could also just look to go and get one. And maybe try to contest this dragon, because this Volibear is pretty strong. Should be pretty close to that Cosmic. Taking a look at the gold. They need a couple more hundred. But they actually have the full 3-man unit on the Open Nexus at the grubs already, whereas Cass on a reset does not have teleport. So if they want to opt into this, they're gonna have to bully ball their way in.
Yeah, and I mean, it is something you do want to fight over. If you can get at least one of those grubs away from the open Nexus, it does take away that point towards the feats of strength objective. I can't remember what that one's called. But the one where you get 3 objectives, if you get at least 1 grub, it doesn't give them that point towards it, and that would be really nice just for kind of delaying that little extra power away from the open Nexus.
I believe someone once told me it's the feat of monsters, and I've kind of rolled with that. Again, I don't know if it's true. I'm very quick to believe what people tell me, as the side of open Nexus were able to take that 1 grub. 5 picked up for the side of NG Evokers, but now Mumu heading out towards this dragon, and Sarselek's going to start that up. Vigar may be getting caught out here on the mini-map as I'm doing that kind of watching. 2v2 in the bot side. We got a fight in the top lane, though, as Orin going to dash in, going to interrupt the set. Can't quite tell what's going on in this bot lane play. It looks like maybe they gave it up. They saw they don't have a way into this dragon. Just going to give up the 2 dragons, and 2 Drake advantage for a team with Sivir, Amumu, Orin feels pretty good.
Yes, it does. I mean, it's definitely not a good place to be for the Evokers, but they do have their own power points here. Like we said, the Cassio already got that kill. The set's been doing really well with the advantage in the top lane, so it's really very much a split map here. We have the bot side, massive advantage for the open Nexus. Oh. Okay, nice. Yeah. Lots of trading in the top lane, but no deaths ever. That's what I've come to understand. But as I was saying, very much a split map. Advantage for bot side for the open Nexus, advantage for top side for the Evokers.
Ooh, it looks like Angel is maybe looking for a dive on this. Orin does not have enough mana to use the Orin Horn here. They're trying to get this wave in. It could be a little dangerous, and Angel going to start it up, is going to take the tower shot, is going to not get their R off just yet. Now there's the R from Angel, going to be able to turn off the tower, flash in. Orin is going to go down. Angel is going to survive. Tower shot not going to pick up a kill either way, and that's going to be 2-2 in the kill count. Next kill going to be those feats of warfare for this for whoever picks them up. While we got the downtime before you go, shout out to King J Blue for the subscription on a 3-month streak. You know the deal. Go ahead, knock on the dumpster 3 times. Go interrupt Todd. It's gonna let you in for those free pancakes. They are on us as always. As is this top tower for this set.
Yeah, and I mean, if this is the first turret, so that's another one of those feats of strength. And this one actually does go over to Evokers, so it's a lot more even now. Basically, if Evokers get this next kill, it's theirs. And if the open Nexus can get it, then it really depends on the objectives. So it's still kind of either way. Both teams have a really clear path to getting that feats of strength. So it's really going to be how much they want to play for their strong side of the map. But going back a little bit, very clean dive from the side of the Evokers. The Volibear turning off the tower, them tanking just enough damage and barely surviving, and diving a tank can be tricky. So well played by them. They're able to do it very well and get that extra gold, extra advantage for the set.
Yeah, I will say, I think the Free Truck played it about as well as they could. They did use their E against the tower to kind of interrupt the Volibear on the Q, which did mean that they had enough time to, force a couple tower shots. As now the set with the Stride Breaker and the Boots of Swiftness just going to run down this Orin in the lane. And Angel trying to sprint down to this Sivir Yumi. Not going to be able to get much done, though. With that Cosmic Drive, does have the fully upgraded Smite. Is fast coming out of those bushes, 100%. As next objective going to be Rift Herald in about 2 minutes. And I would fully expect to see both these teams fighting around it.
I hope so. I mean, if they give one more objective over to the side of the open Nexus, that will be their point towards the feats of strength. That will be the objective claimed by them. So if they give it over, then it really will come down to the next kill. So basically the feats of strength are going to be decided here in the next 2 minutes regardless. And we'll kind of see. This next Rift Herald fight will probably be the deciding factor.
Yeah, and I'll be curious. It does look like they're going to send Sivir out towards the mid lane. Sending your strong member close to the objective, always a smart maneuver. Vigar should be safe to kind of just farm it up in the bot side. Has that Roa stacking in about 5 minutes. Going to be feeling pretty good. And we'll look to see how they look to approach this fight on really either side. Again, this game feels super even, and the gold pretty much reflects that.
Yeah, and I imagine that they'll be moving the Jinx Melio mid here for the Evokers. They want to match that ADC rotation. Since the open Nexus already took the bot tower, it makes sense. They want to go mid. They want to pressure the next turret. They want to be there for either the Rift Herald or the Dragon fight with this Sivir, who's already got a full item. They got the Yuntal and the BF Sword and the Berserker Greaves. So this is a very strong Sivir as long as she doesn't get burst down in these team fights.
Yeah, and that's maybe where one of the downsides to the comp for the Evokers, they don't have a great way to get on to the Sivir. Again, Angel can run at him on the volley. Set, if they can send in one of these meatballs on top of him, that feels great. But other than that, you don't have, like an Amumu R. You don't have an Ornn ultimate, as Rufu gonna, again, fight this Ornn on the top side. Should be able to pull him back. Gonna use the W a little early, and Rufu not actually gonna look to continue it. Rift Herald is getting started up, and Jinx is on the bot side. Ooh, Bandage Toss from Sarcelex not going to connect, but we should see this Rift Herald started up. Now, the way it's looking, maybe Nefarious is hoping that they don't start it up right away, and they can try to contest the third dragon as that third objective. Curious to see what they look to do here, as just a little bit of trading mid lane, and it looks like Sarcelex going to start up that Rift Herald.
Yeah, I mean, they're already on the Rift Herald here. Ooh, got some trading in the mid lane, as this Cassio is really hurting.
Yeah, and that's actually doing a ton of damage. Has to get out. Sarcelex going to connect up on the Bandage Toss into the Curse of the Sad Mummy. Is going to be able to pick up the kill on this Cass. And the cage is going to come through. Not going to be able to save Prescription. Has to pop the flash. And that is the Feats of Warfare over. And now Rufu is here, but you are by yourself. Going to have to play this one nice and slow. Angel trying to come up to defend. Is going to get stunned up there by the Volibear, who is strong, but is in there by themselves. No follow-up. Ornn coming through now. Ornn is going to get dunked out by the Set, who has to get out from under the tower. Meanwhile, Jinx is just free fighting on this bot turret down here, and in a 4v2, this is looking the way of the open Nexus. Melioar gets connected. Rufu trying to run. Cage with the flash, not going to connect. Will they fall? No, they will not. 3-4 is your kill count after all of that.
Yeah, and I mean, there were some kills traded there, but very chaotic team fighting for both sides. Really fun to watch. Lots of abilities used, lots of different angles, people joining in. The fight was very dynamic. It felt very lively. I love to see that in a team. They're clearly, they want it, they're fighting, they're scrappy, and I love it. As a quick note, the Open Nexus did get that third kill first, so they got the Feats of Strength there. Claiming this dragon does give them the Feats of Strength overall, so they should get those upgraded boots. They get that little bit of extra scaling advantage, but they are currently trading it for the Rift Herald, as we see that the Evokers are already on it and about to take it down.
Yeah, that being said, you are looking at a team with 3 dragons that has this Ornn, this Amumu, this Sivir, this very simple kind of way of playing out team fights. So I think you are more than happy with kind of settling for that trade if you are an Open Nexus fan. But if you're on the side of NG Evokers, you're also probably kind of spinning a positive narrative saying, hey, we got this Rift Herald, we can try and crack open some turrets, we can try to keep funneling our gold. So it's not the end of the world for either side, but that first team fight giving us a little bit of a taste of what can come, and it went the way of the Open Nexus overall.
It did indeed, and I mean, both the main carries, both the Veigar and the Sivir, are currently deathless from the Open Nexus, so they didn't really have any threat in that fight. Like you were saying, the Evokers don't really have a tool to get on them, lock them down, shut them down. It's really hard to keep these carries managed, and I think that's where we're going to see that as a problem later game in the team fights too.
Yeah, we see the Open Nexus walking in as a 4-man unit into the enemy red side. Really kind of smart map play as Free Truck going to get some solid damage off. Rift Herald is going to get popped up here in the mid lane, though, and we'll see if they're able to walk it in. Volibear going to try and run that away. Wisdom has to flash from the Amumu Bandage Toss. Not going to connect. Mid tower not going to fall. Just going to take a lot of damage, and that's going to be the use of the Rift Herald. Yes, Sarcelex, chat. Sarcelex. We have
Sarcelex.
We've been cashed in that it's pronounced like, so we know what their name is deep down, but chat has decided it is Sarcelex, as Bandage Toss not going to connect from Sarcelex.
Indeed, and I mean, unfortunately, not able to take down that mid turret. That first tier 1 mid turret is so valuable if you can get it down. It gives you so much control into the enemy jungle if you're able to set up. But left at like maybe 200 HP from that Rift Herald. We'll see if if Wisdom can get over there, take it down, get a reset later. But I think the main deciding factor for this game, I'm going to be looking towards that soul point for the Open Nexus in about 2 minutes 40 seconds. We're going to get that 4th dragon, and if they get the dragon soul right at about 25 minutes, or in this case 22 minutes, that would be really, really strong for this already incredibly strong scaling composition.
Yeah, it absolutely would be. Again, gold still pretty much dead even, but you factor in those values, those dragons, each one's worth about 1,000 in terms of stats. Combine that with the soul, and if they are able to pick that up, the Open Nexus should be feeling very, very good. You got Atacon spawned on this bot side, and given how kind of slow this game was, it does look to be the Voracious. If I'm looking at my minimap correctly, Voracious could be absolutely massive for the Evokers if they can pick it up. And one thing with this Volibear, you can solo the Atacon. It takes a little bit of time if you are soloing it, but the take is pretty fast, all things considered. And if Open Nexus aren't prepared for it, which currently they are, they have got the vision, could be snuck out from under their noses.
Indeed, and yeah, I've seen the volley soloing Otacon tech. It's super cool. It's awesome to watch. It's what a really cool feature that champion has. And I do really like the volley jungle, as you were kind of talking about earlier. We've seen it put in a lot of good work this game with the top lane dive, with the bot lane hover. So I like you said, I think there's a lot of strong points for either team here. It's really going to come down to how these next couple team fights go.
Yeah, we got this dragon in about a minute. Evoker's going to get that scuttle for the kind of vision control. Wisdom going to try and take out this turret, but they are up by themselves. Very dangerous to do so. Not going to be able to connect it. Teleport used very early here from the free truck. And Angel maybe going to catch out Star Selects. Going to hit up the Q. Going to do some decent damage, but they are by themselves. They don't want to overextend here. Thulam zoning them out. Volibear going to have to walk this one out. Cass going for a reset. Ornar is going to be used there. Followed through by the Volibear R and the Yuumi ultimate. Banish Toss goes through from Star Selects. Gus gets stunned up. Angel gets very chunked out, as does Wisdom. And they're going to need to get some resets off if they want to connect for this or contest this dragon, which is up in 35 seconds.
Yeah, if they can't get back in time, if they can't really get set up and fight once again, then it's going to be hard for them. But we did see a lot of key cooldowns used by the side of the Open Nexus. That Ornar was used. They were able to kind of walk into the fight. I'm not sure if the Sivir R was used. That's on cooldown. So two really valuable tools gone. We'll see if they can play around it.
As though Starslack's going to get stunned up there by the set. Is going to look to dunk on top of this Vigar. Not going to get all the damage off. But Starslack is low. Does have to flash out. And now Angel is sprinting in. Gets hit up by the cage. Going to try and do the damage that they can. These health bars are getting low. Right now it is favoring the Evokers. Going to zone him out. Rufu flashes in onto this Vigar. But is going to buy themselves. Does hit up the E. Follow through flash. Banish Shot's going to connect there from Starslack. And now Rufu's on the wrong side of the rift. Hits up a massive W though. And that is going to kill the Amumu. They are going to be traded eventually in response. Thulam actually going to go in for the flash to pick up that shutdown. This is a 4v4, but there is no jungler. And let's see what Evokers look to do here. Dragon is on the table. They are kind of zoned out a little bit. They're just sitting in this bush. They are scared. They don't want to throw this. Yuumi are just about to come up. Volibear looking to save their ultimate as well. And Open Nexus is going to get that mid lane prio. They are now going to start the dragon. Amumu not up for 10 seconds. 6k, 5k. They are shredding it with this cast, with this volley. And it should be Infernal Soul going over, or well, Infernal Soul denied by the Evokers.
Yeah, really well played by them. I want to shout out MXL and Wisdom in that fight. They were able to zone Thulam out. Thulam couldn't safely hit anyone. This AD carry that we had such a big advantage on wasn't really able to play the team fight. And I think that's exactly what they need to do if they want to win these fights. They have to zone out. They have to keep the peel, the engage away from this Sivir. Otherwise, the fights are easy front to back. And currently, Evoker's not letting them have that easy fight.
Yeah. A lot, and I think a lot of it came down to that, that Ornar being used. It was a good fish attempt on the Volibear, who did get super chunked out, but it was traded for that Volibear ult. And in a team fight, I will take the Ornar every single time over the volley. I love Volibear, not the most impactful ultimate for team fights, and I think just not having that ability made it kind of tough to contest. Angel looking to tank up this mid turret for their Jinx, gonna try to do the best they can. Finally going to open up this map a little bit, and our gold lead again just about 700. So pretty dead even game.
Absolutely, and I mean they basically just said that they're tired of that mid tower being up. It's been up for so long, it's so little health. So I'm glad to see they kind of just brute force it. Volley runs in, they take it down, and they're able to clear the wave after. So they got a lot of map pressure for that. That makes the game a lot easier to play in terms of vision control and warding. I know that I love trying to get a deep ward in the mid lane to see what's going on. A lot of people walk through there. So maybe they can get some good information now that they kind of have that tool to use on the map.
Yeah, Baron now on the table. Atacon still hasn't been tried by either side. Everyone who's played with me knows that I love to say that Atacon is the greatest way to throw a game in 2025. So I like that neither team is necessarily looking to flip it. Both these teams are kind of hovering around this top side, mid laners on that bot wave. Gonna see where these teams look to go, or if they look to just stall it out for the next dragon fight.
Yeah, I mean, If they are able to get that soul point, that's still a huge threat from the side of the open Nexus. If they are able to get that, that's a massive power spike. So want to deny that for sure, but the Baron is up. So there could be some sort of trade play made. We'll see what both teams want to do once it gets a little bit closer to that timer in about 2.5 minutes here.
Yeah, we're going to see a Mumu walk down towards this Atacon, potentially giving off the signal that they're looking to start it up as they saw Volibear go and take that red buff. But now you can see the ping coming out from Angel, and they're just starting up the Baron, and they're going to trade Voracious Atacon for Baron potentially. We'll have to see how that one comes out here. It doesn't look like either team's going to have a way to stop the other. So, yeah, Voracious Atacon for Baron. How you feeling about that?
I really don't like that trade for the open Nexus. I mean, the revive buff is really good if they can use it, but it is only temporary, and I think you usually get a lot more value out of a Baron buff unless they try to 5v5 it. What I'm looking for here is I want the Evokers to not take a 5v5 fight unless it's totally free. I've seen so many Baron buffs kind of thrown away at that point. They all die, they don't get any towers, it's kind of worthless. So I'm hoping to see a lot of map pressure, hoping to see that gold lead kind of spike for the Evoker side. I would definitely rather be on the side of the Baron here.
Yeah, and with that said, I mean, it's going to be kind of hard to force on the Voracious Atacon. Like you said, you want to kind of force something to happen, but it's going to be hard to force into these empowered Baron minions, into this Jinx, into this cast that can wave clear super easily. So they might not even really get an opportunity to get a whole lot out of the Atacon.
We'll see. Maybe that was kind of more neutralizing. It's kind of hard for...
Angel gonna catch out Sarcelex, is getting chunked out by this cast, by this Volibear. Ult gonna come through, Volibear dunks over the top, is on a rampage, is Thulam, but this Amumu just goes back on the reset. So 1-0 teleport did come through from Rufru, but that means no Amumu curse this at Mummy and no Voracious buff for this soul fight.
True. And I mean, that was the jungle traded for jungle there.
Thulam walking in dangerously is not going to be able to stop. Thulam is going to get unstoppable. And now they're trying to force out onto the Sivir. Is going to take so much damage. Thulam going to force the withdraw. But now Family is here. Going to dunk the Yuumi on top of the Vigar. That's another Atacon rebuff or revive getting wasted. Famalum going to take a lot of damage. Should be going down as well. Amumu dashes in. Does not have an ult. Does not have anything. They will die. They will not be revived. Vigar on the revive. And this should be Dragon again over to the Evokers.
They got to do it soon, though. I mean, the jungle is dead, but the rest of the team is coming out here. Those revives, those withdraws do not last very long. It's about 15 seconds. They're back on the map. We see Thulam. We see the Yuumi already coming back. The Ornn's already here. Still has the revive buff. This is a really hard fight to play for the Evokers. They're going to have to burst this down quickly or try to not take the fight at all.
Yeah, and Volibear just going to sprint past, is going to get knocked up, though, has to flash away immediately. Massive cast on the backside, and they're just full fighting. Angel trying to finish off the Baron, or the Dragon on the bot side, while the rest of the team is fighting on the top side. That is 1 kill, that is 2 kills, that is 3 for the side of the Evokers. And meanwhile, Volibear trying to finish off this Dragon, should be able to pick it up, is going to be able to pick that up in the end. And now Phantom is likely going to pick up Angel in response. Angel going to try and run away as fast as they can. They are fast. They can try their best. They're going to speed through the bush. Q not going to connect. R going to be used there. Is likely out of there. Able to pick up the Dragon, but the gold lead now firmly in favor of the side of the open Nexus.
Yeah, I mean, what a fight. They kind of started that in a bad position there, but they said, we need to deny the soul. We can't give them that easy point to win the game. And they actually do. They get the Dragon, but it does cost 3 of their lives. I want to say that fight started with an amazing play from the Evokers. They took out the key members. They got us those revives.
Famalum just deletes Angel with the ultimate on this Vigar, and that is a massive cooldown, or I mean, massive desyncing of respawn timers. Inhibitor gonna go down here bot side as yeah, overall gold now up about 3k on the side of the open Nexus.
Yeah, I mean, as I was saying, incredible team fighting from both sides. We saw some really good plays so far. I think that particularly, how do you say that, Rufru played that fight so well on the set. Got the Yuumi off of the Sivir after the one shot, took out the Vigar on the side too, set up that Dragon fight perfectly. And I think both teams have just shown their own prowess in this game. You kind of look at the gold, it doesn't look that even, but this game's very deceptive. Both teams have had a way in, they've had a clear angle, and they've played well.
Yeah, absolutely. Pretty low kill game, all things considered, for commercial. We're at 30 minutes in, just 16 kills. little bit of a methodical burn as next objective is gonna be Baron in 2 minutes. So I'm assuming we're gonna have a little bit of a lull state. Both sides probably waiting for these AD carries to get their flashes back up, wait for these barriers, waiting for these big CDs to come back on the map, and probably not looking to force before then.
Yeah, I guess not. I'm hoping we don't see the same kind of like they're trying to over investments, I guess I would call them, where they use those ultimates trying to get picks. If they do that right before these big team fights again, it might not work out very well. So we'll see. Like you were talking about earlier, particularly that Ornn ultimate is so crucial for engaging the fight. I imagine we'll kind of see them trying to conserve their own resources, just get their items, just get their levels, until we have that next big team fight.
Yeah, talking about items, looking at Thulam on this Sivir is on 4 items already. Taking a look at their gold. Not going to have another item for the next Dragon fight, but they should have a pretty decent component. They are very, very tough to kill here. Very tough to get to. And that's kind of who my eyes are on for this next objective fight, wherever it is, as they're looking to maybe make a 5-man collapse on Rufu. They are going to spot it up by a ward, and Rufu is heading for the hills. Ornhorn is going to get used up here, is going to connect. The E gonna land onto the set, is caught 1v5. Can they outplay this? They use a massive RW, but it's not going to do a thing. Flash out, Thulam godlike on this Sivir, and this top tower now going to fall.
That is such a crucial pick from the side of the Open Nexus. That is the top laner. That is their main dive. That is the threat on this Veigar and Sivir that is now not available for the Evokers. The Open Nexus want this. They're rushing in. They're hitting the turret.
And
they know.
Angel is caught in the cage. Is relatively tanky at this point, so is able to survive. But now that top tier 2 has fallen. Baron up in 15 seconds, and it looks like Open Nexus just wants to maybe force it. Maybe try to just get this vision control.
Yeah, I think they can do a little of both. I mean, they burn it so fast with the Sivir DPS, with the Veigar burst too. And with the pressure they have on the map, I think this is totally free for them to just burst down.
Yeah, they're going to be able to pick this one up. It looks like maybe the Evokers are starting to walk up towards it, but it's just gone so quick. Not a thing they can do. They stop a couple of resets, but now you've got this soul on the table in just about a minute. 6k gold lead for the side of the Open Nexus. Gonna be a hard fight with that Baron, with this Sivir on that BF sword now as well. Maybe building into a GA. Not sure what that 5th item's looking like. Veigar quietly 5-on-3 has that Seeker's Arm Guard, so they're gonna be really tough to kill. Things are looking good here for red side.
Absolutely. I mean, I would definitely want to be in this position right now. They have the Baron, they have the inhib bot, they have map pressure. It's really just about getting this soul point. This is kind of the last big thing they have to play for. If they get soul, they're kind of just strong.
Yeah, oh, Emilio just gets deleted by the Sivir. 2 autos and already is basically dead. Gonna make this fight that much tougher to play out as the Dragon up in just about 15 seconds.
We'll see. It's a tough position to try and walk into the Sivir at all. I mean, they have all these tools to go in, but Angel's bold.
Angel bowling in there, just going to get absolutely deleted. Rufu goes in, hits a Master Showstopper. It's doing a lot of damage, but not enough to survive. Ornn going to be able to pick up that kill. 2 for nothing, and the Soul going to go over to the side of the Open Nexus.
Yeah, I mean, this game is kind of not so slowly bleeding out anymore. The gold lead is expanding. Super Mega Death Rocket isn't able to pick anything up, and now the Baron, the Soul, 2 dead. The Open Nexus want to walk right towards that Nexus.
Chat asking for a Veigar stat check. Looking like 269 on the Phenomenal Evil, just about 1,000 AP. This mid tower going to fall nice and quick. Inhibitor going to be shortly there to follow, and potentially the end of game 1 for the Open Nexus. They're going to bully their way down this lane. Amumu still has Curse to Sound Mummy. They could look to dive under these turrets. Or see if they look to force the issue. Amumu's fishing. We're just going to let them...
They don't have a wave.
They don't have a wave, just that cannon. And now they're going to escort in the bot wave. Volibear is up. Set is now coming up as well. This is going to be their last opportunity on the Evoker side to save this game. We'll see if OpenX try to force the issue.
They're keeping the pressure on. They say, we're ahead. We want this.
The Sivir Boomerang just doing so much damage. Prescription dead. Wisdom almost dead. Ornhorn going to get used there, but the ground is going to deny the second cast. But these towers are getting deleted with these empowered minions coming in. 1 goes down. The second next to follow. Angel gets stunned up. Gets deleted. Cast. Gonna pop the Seeker's Arm Guard, but they will fall in just a second. And this looks like it should be game number 1 over to the side of the Open Nexus. Do they pick up a couple kills? In good measure. They will pick up Rufu. They're trying to pick up the Jinx. Not going to be able to do it. But that is game 1 to Open Nexus.
Yeah, really well played at the end there. They got everything they wanted. They pushed their advantage. They were confident, and they took the win in game one. Very well played.
Yeah, game number one over to the side of the Open Nexus, and we'll switch back over to the screen so you can take a quick look at the damage that came through there. Rufru doing quite a bit on this set, but that Sivir damage, I was wondering about the R5 Sivir. I wasn't sure how I felt about it in the moment, but I gotta say, after watching it in the game, it was pretty impressive.
Yeah, I mean, double the damage of anyone else in the game, not even on the other team. Definitely played this one really well. I liked the aggression that I saw. Clearly a very confident player. Knew the ADC they were playing, knew Sivir's spikes very well, Sivir's damage very well, and was just overall very phenomenal in game one.
Yeah, of course, this is a best of 3, so now the Evokers find themselves on match point. They are inviting me to the next lobby. What would you be looking to do if you are NGO or NGE, I guess I should say? You think it's a side switch? Do you think it's just like a band difference? You know, what takeaways are you taking from that?
I'm hoping that they can kind of deny those safer bot lanes from Thulam. I think if they're able to get the jungle down there, get Angel there, try to punish it, then that it'll work a lot better to try and shut down that strong point from the open Nexus. As long as they are able to kind of keep bot side from bleeding, their top side looked really good in the early game before kind of that soul point threat was on the map. So if I was the Evokers, I would definitely want to play through topside, maybe get kind of a stronger carry champ. Set was really good, but couldn't really do a lot when it came to how safe Sivir was. So I think a lot of it is going to be denying kind of those higher quality safe AD carry picks and trying to punish Thulam early.
Yeah, kind of by opting into that Jinx Amelia so early, you kind of give over, not give over, but you know, you're not exactly applying a lot of pressure on the bot lane for the open Nexus, which again we talked about. Thulam probably kind of the star player of this squad. So then they're not feeling the ton of pressure. They're able to kind of just free scale it up. And you even saw in the laning phase, they were kind of messing some stuff up, you know, with those boomerangs, with the crossblade, doing a lot of damage on the Sivir Yumi. So I'm curious to see if either of those get taken away or if they look to kind of just keep the bans as is. It looks like we're getting a side swap, if I had to guess. Seeing some NG members lining up on the red side, which to me says they're swapping.
I would assume so. I think they want that counter pick. They know that the counter pick is really strong if Thulam gets to the champ that he wants or that they want. So trying to maybe figure out how they can get an ideal matchup either in the top lane or in that bot lane, I think will be really valuable for the Evokers. That's kind of what I would look for on the other side here.
Yeah, I know. Trying to think of Nefarious. I think Ezreal is kind of their like signature ADC pick. So maybe, you know, pivot to something like the Ezreal, maybe a pivot to I mean, again, the Volibear was impactful early. Had the CS advantage. Just the Veigar Sivir pretty tough to actually get onto with, you know, the cage and with the spell shield. I know the Lilia was banned. That's the other big pick that Angel has. I'm trying to see maybe what else they've got in the bag. Maybe still a little bit more ganking agency. I know they play some Wukong. I know they play maybe a little bit of J4. So curious to see what the answer is going to be as we have a draft link for game number 2. I will pull that up real quick, and then don't you guys worry. I will pay out the predictions as soon as I'm done with this. I know people are fiending it for their money. So let me go ahead and do that. We'll do the very professional switch up the logos, and then we will pay out our channel points.
And in the meantime, I know you're talking about the Ezreal. We can talk a little more about this bot lane matchup. I think that it was pretty even, kind of in terms of champions in game 1. But I do want to kind of focus more on the lane phase when it comes to the team's advantage. I think that the Sivir, Thulam was able to kind of play that really freely, didn't really have a lot of threat, and was able to kind of spam shove the wave. Whenever we saw bot side, it was just they had prio over and over. And I think that's what made that early Drake stacking so easy. So I think if they're able to kind of shut that down, maybe pick something with a little more lane prio, if we're kind of maybe able to force the open Nexus onto a melee support, that'd be kind of easy. I want to see how the Evokers are able to kind of restructure these bans and get the open Nexus to kind of those champions that might be worse for their game plan. That's kind of what I'm thinking of. I've done a lot of drafting before, so trying to force people onto things that are easier for your team to play against could be a real advantage.
Yes, it could. We got one team saying they're R for draft, the other team taking just a second, probably finalizing their decisions on what they want to prio. Again, we are swapping sides, so that maybe impacts kind of what you're looking to ban. Maybe leave something up that you didn't last time. Yeah, again, if you are Nefarious, you got to win this one or you are out of here. Your season does end, unfortunately. Such is the nature of the beast of playoffs. We got this big 16-team bracket, a lot of action, and somehow we're on Friday night, and none of the other teams have played before this moment.
I know that that's what it was like when I was playing in tournaments and leagues before. A lot of games on the weekends, a lot of games, some on Fridays. But I'm happy to catch one of the earlier games here. And playoffs is high stakes, so I'm hoping that we can kind of keep our head in the game for both teams, keep the pressure going if you're the Open Nexus, and hopefully pick it back up if you're the Evokers.
Yeah, absolutely. Was able to pay out those channel points, so rest easy. Those of you that did gamble away, we'll start up the next prediction when once the draft comes through. We'll give it a couple of minutes here, and yeah, I'm excited to see what we what switch ups we got going on. Let's see if chat's got any good ideas. It's always a mixed bag, right? Loki saying that they would love to see a lane bully like Illusion. I think that makes a lot of sense. I'm not super familiar with Wisdom's pool, so I'm curious to see if that's something that they've got in the bag. But I definitely think, playing something that has the illusion of lane prio could be pretty effective into the way Thulin was playing, because they were playing with a lot of confidence because they knew they were against Jinx Melio.
Yeah, they knew that they weren't a strong lane, but neither was the enemy, so they were able to kind of play through confidence there. I do that a lot whenever I'm playing any solo lane or even in the bot lane. If you kind of pressure up, put some pressure on your opponents, sometimes it's really easy to kind of take control. So maybe we need to see just some more confidence from the side of the Evokers. If they're able to say, hey, we will fight you early, it might actually work out a little better in that lane.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, we saw strong stuff from Rufru and MXL, the solo laners of Nefarious, which we kind of talked about. It's again this bot lane of the Open Nexus versus the top side of NG Evokers. Two contrasting philosophies, two contrasting play styles. Game one went over to the bot lane, but it is a long series. Could be a 3-game banger. As again, still waiting on draft here. Just kind of filibustering our time up just a little bit. I'm curious to see if we see a different jungle pick come out for Sarcelex on this. Had a pretty solid Amumu game. Not the flashiest, not the sexiest jungle pick, but you do it when you got to do it, right?
It gets the job done, that's for sure. And kind of on that topic, but a little unrelated since we have some time, do you have a favorite champion in jungle or in general?
Yeah, well, so for me, my favorite champ is Lilia. I know we've been talking about the Volibear spam, but Lilia is my personal favorite champ to play. I think my favorite champ in general to watch would definitely be Rel. I used to play support. I loved Rel, and when it became a jungler, I also loved playing the Rel. I think it just had some super hype moments with the Flash Magnet Storms. I liked old Rel a little better, I'll be honest, with like the little E you could get behind the enemy and then snap them. Yeah, definitely a Lilia enjoyer. There's just something about running around the comps or running around the camps, full clearing like a demon, and then that massive flash sleep that does it for me. What about you?
I have a couple favorites. I was just playing top lane for a little bit, but now I'm kind of in support. My best support, probably my favorite support, is Leona. I love kind of the quintessential engage, getting the job done, getting the fight started, tanking up for my team. But in top lane, I used to be a big Udyr top. I like the kind of tanky, more kind of laid-back play style. But more recently, I'm getting to the carry picks. I like the Jax too. Anything that kind of has CC is usually right up my alley.
Mm-hmm. Makes a lot of
And
sense.
it looks like the draft has been started up here.
Yeah, draft is started up here. They just rolled it. And yeah, we'll see what pivots come out here. Lilia, again, going to be taken off the table from Angel. Not going to be getting to see that one probably at all tonight. We'll see if the rest of the bands are maintained or if they look to make any swaps. Caitlyn, again, another champ we didn't see game one, probably will not see tonight. Based on how Thulum played, I do not blame the Evokers for not leaving that one up.
Yeah, take out all the ADCs they can, try to pinch that pool. I know that Thulum is kind of the main carry so far, so trying to get away those strong power picks is going to be really good. And I mean, the Caitlyn, very big lane bully, really seems like how Thulum likes to play the game, so very good takeaway there.
Yep. And the Darius can be taken away from Rufru and the Lulu. I believe these are all same bands we saw last time. The Mel. I do believe we're just getting a clean run back until the Sivir. So we will be seeing a new ADC pickup for Thulum for the Open Nexus, and we'll see what the B1 is going to be.
Usually you do try to B1 the ADCs, but we will see the B1 Vigar again. They do want to give Thulum kind of that pick of choice later on in the draft again. So the Vigar worked very well game one. They picked it in R1 in the first game. So now they're saying, we want the Vigar. It worked well. Let's take it again.
Yeah, I think we'll say it was Famalam. That sounds like a fun way to pronounce that. Had a pretty solid performance on the Vigar. And they're saying, hey, you're not going to punish it. Bot lane, Varus going to be the pickup. It looks like pretty safe and strong. Blind 80 carry. Yeah, typically has pretty solid lanes. Can play with an engage. Can play with an enchanter. Can go on hit. Can go lethality. Can go AP if we're feeling really spicy. Hopefully, maybe like game 6. That being said,
yeah,
a lot of different ways to go here with the Varus. I like it. It's very flexible, and we'll see if they look to answer mid lane here, or if they look to grab a jungle perhaps. Going to take away the Amumu.
Yeah, it is the Amumu. I was personally kind of hoping for something like a Jarvan, maybe to kind of punish that Vigar early. Those cataclysms can be so good, but the Amumu is picked up. They said, was it them who played the Amumu last time? No, it was they're taking it away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was from the Open Nexus. So actually switching over teams now, the Amumu. They want the team fight. They want the ultimate this time, and they want to take that away from Sarcelax.
Yeah, it's always funny when you see kind of these little metas evolve throughout the night and develop. This Amumu that both these teams probably heading in weren't expecting was going to be so pick ban. Ends up being a prio pick. Going to be answered though with the Skarner. Has fallen out of favor just a little bit in the current meta, but the setup is right there. The Vigar cage, you E whoever's mid lane for the Evokers into the cage. How can they play? And the Ornn again going to be picked up. So we're just going full scaling, and it worked out last time for him.
It did. I mean, they got the same kind of concept here. They got 2 big meatballs. I'm sure they're going to have 2 hyper carries and kind of just scale the game away. But the Vel'Koz is taken on R3 for the Evokers. This is a new champ. We didn't see this in game 1. And the Vel'Koz is very unique. So we talked about last game, both comps are very short range. They kind of had to just run into each other and see what happens. Vel'Koz is very much not that playstyle. He likes to sit back, he pokes, he uses his abilities, and he can burst down those tanks with true damage. So I think this is a really good pick here from the Evokers, as long as they can peel it. I'm going to be looking for some really strong peel here in the team fights.
And I'm curious where this Vel'Koz is going. It could go support. I don't necessarily love that pairing with Varus, but it could go support, could go mid into the Vigar. Is pretty good at killing out those tanks, and it's a pick you don't see a ton of. Now it does look like on the stream, we have been able to survive the draft. Again, at this point last time, it did freeze up. But we're still here. You guys are still here with us. We got Braum banned away for red side. Silas taken away from the blue side, which is interesting because you've got this Amumu ultimate now available, but they're still taking the Silas off the table. And we're going to get a no ban. I'm sure we'll get updated in the chat on what that last ban is. And it is...
Looks like an Aphelios.
Aphelios. Which we saw banned away last time.
Interesting Silas ban here too. I mean, it makes me think that the Open Nexus thinks this is a Vel'Koz support. If we do go for the Varus Vel'Koz bot lane, that is a lot of poke. That's a lot of agency that they have. It'd be really easy to kind of shove in the wave, keep them poked under tower, maybe shut down some of that agency from Thulam. But we'll see. The Aatrox ban now coming out, and this R4 and R5 will tell us for sure where the Vel'Koz will end up.
Yeah, probably should just go top lane here. Maybe. I guess you could go either way. Save this pure flex 4-5 could be an option. You know you're going up into the Ornn. Could go a pretty solid tank killer. You got this Vel'Koz or this Ornn. You got this Skarner. Very big meatballs, and it's going to be the Scion. So fight meatball with meatball.
Yeah, and I mean, interesting because we saw Rufru on the set last game. That's more of a carry champ. Now it's going to be kind of into that like tank style, unless they are going like the lethality Scion or something. But besides that, probably looks just like a frontline tank here. They are maybe trying to say, we're going to shut down bot side this game. We're going to play for those dragons. Maybe they aren't trying to over-invest in top side like we saw in game 1.
Yeah, and I think Scion should definitely be fine into the Ornn. I don't imagine that matchup is too bad. Jinx going to be picked up here for Thulam, and I'm assuming we're going to get an Enchanter with it. We've already got 2 big tanks to set up the CC. We got the Veigar for zone control. You know, something like the Lulu's off the table, but you could go a lot of different directions here with the Jinx. Potentially the Milio that we saw last time could go any number of directions. The Yumi's still fine, and it is going to be that Milio.
Yeah, I mean, classic pairing. We saw it from the Evokers in game 1. They weren't able to get much done with it, but Thulam, maybe with that kind of confidence, that bold play, can kind of take control of the bot lane. But if it does end up being Vel'Koz support, I would definitely favor the Evokers here.
And our last pick is going to be Azir, which means this Vel'Koz is in the support role for prescription. And we've got scaling versus scaling in this game.
Once again, both teams, they definitely want those team fights. I think the key is going to be taking a look at the bot and mid here, actually. I mean, the Azir is a very big power pick, can take out those tanks, can even get in and, Azir shuffle the Jinx. So they do have a lot more tools to kind of shut down Thulam, take care of those team fights. I like this draft a lot better already from the Evokers.
Yeah, letting the chat know that stream is ready. There's one player who shall not be named that has not hopped into the right team just yet. You guys can't see that, so we'll leave it to the imaginations for sure. Yeah, taking a look at these comps, how are we feeling here?
I think it's a lot of the same themes as last game. I think, like I said, the Evokers do have a lot more tools in this game to kind of play through, shut down the Jinx, get some angles. So I think it might be even closer than last game, honestly. But I think I do want to go with the Open Nexus. I mean, they did get the exact same type of team comp that they played in game 1, that they played really well, and we saw them play around really well. They like that team fighting. They have the Jinx. She's a monster in team fights. They have that engage, that tank, that front line, and of course, the quintessential Veigar. So I think that it is going to be the Open Nexus 2.0, if I had to guess. I really like how they play this type of team comp, and they got it able to just run right back in game 2.
Yep. Again, makes a lot of sense to me. I do think that this Varus cannot afford to go, cannot go AP. I don't think they can go lethality. I mean, you look at this Ornn, this Skarner. I know you got the Veigar, you know you've got the Vel'Koz, you've got the Azir, but you still need some pretty consistent 80 damage, I think, from the rest of your team. And really, Varus is kind of the only one that can provide that. So I would be expecting that we're going maybe like the lethal, Blade the Ruin King build, as looks like we're just waiting on someone. And that someone is the person who starts us up. All you have to do is gently complain, and they will comply as we get into Champ Select tier for game number 2.
Yeah, I mean, like you were talking about, I think that you probably could go the Poke Varus, like if you wanted to try and play with the Vel'Koz and just whittle them down before the fights start. But it is probably the safer bet to go with that lethal tempo, go Blade of the Ruin King, kind of get that consistent damage. I think that they will struggle to kill the Ornn and Skarner if they don't have that lethal tempo Varus. So that's probably likely what they're going to go for here. But as kind of the team fights play out, like I said, I think this is a lot closer than game one. Do you agree with me? Which team do you favor so far?
So, as I did have to go and grab another water, I did deplete my supply that last game, and so I was just coming back. I think that this is a classic tale of like heart versus mind, right? I think my brain is telling me that I like the comp from the Open Nexus more, but my heart wants to see a 3-game series, and that to me makes me want to vote for NG Evokers. Which, speaking of, if you do want to vote, gambling is live. There were some decent schmeckles put down last time on the side of the Open Nexus, and it looks like, is it actually closed? Can't tell. I'm not seeing a timer, so I think it might be closed. Heavy points in favor of the Open Nexus this time around. 25k thrown down by King J Blue. I believe that's captain of Team Backflip. So they're putting their money where their mouth is, quite literally.
Yes, indeed. I mean, I think that the bets are pretty close for game two here. The game one definitely wasn't a slaughter. There was a lot of kind of plays from both sides. The feats of strength were close for a very long time, and I think that's a pretty good judgment of how equally matched these teams can be. If they're kind of playing to their strengths, playing the way that their comp's set up. Like you said, comps are only half the game. It's a lot about execution here, and we definitely saw good execution from both sides.
Yeah, and we mentioned how these two teams are kind of in that like similar spot of the standings. I believe they were the 7 and the 10 seeds coming into playoffs. But in terms of their actual like game records, in terms of like individual games played, one team was 11-7, the other team was 11-8. So really not a whole lot of distance separating these two. And we saw that in game number one, where it was pretty much even through, I would say, 80% of that game. It was a dead even contest, could go either way. We are going to load up into this game in just about 3 minutes and some change. While we do that, I'm going to quickly switch us over to this screen. People get really mad if I don't change the bottles and stuff. So it's going to look a little ugly here for just a second, but ugly is what we aim for here at the low budget LCS. Is that is not what we want to be dragging. This is what we want to be dragging. Do a little switch around. Put these here. Again, this is the high quality production that we provide here at the low budget LCS. Got NGE on the red side and the OpenX on the blue side. And just like that, it's like nothing ever happened.
Yeah, I mean, nice job switching all that up. And while we have a few minutes here, I asked earlier about your favorite champion. Do you have a least favorite champion? Someone you hate playing against?
Oh, so I've got two. My absolute least favorite champ. I'll go second. So my second least favorite is, well, let me make sure there's no one from my opponents on Sunday watching. No, I don't love playing against Poppy. Because as a jungler, so many of my picks are kind of directly impacted by Poppy. Just an anti-fun champ, like Xin Zhao, Jarvan, Wukong, even things like Viego, Lilia can get interrupted by Poppy. Just like everything has something that gets screwed over by the W. Just kind of a nuisance. Although more so, Poppy support, I think kind of annoys me more than like Poppy jungle. But my absolute least favorite champ to play against is in fact Mordekaiser, because it doesn't matter how strong you get in a game. If you get pulled into that death realm with Rylai's, like you're just likely dead. I mean, again, as someone who plays mostly like melee junglers, you don't stand a chance. You're gonna die in the death realm, and then the rest of your team's fighting a 4v4. And Mordekaiser may have single-handedly kept me out of Masters earlier this split. So I've also got a little bit of a personal vendetta with Mord. So hopefully I don't see that on Sunday when I play, or hopefully I do, and my top laner will give it the smacking. If it means I'm going to playoffs, I'm fine with eating the Mordar every time.
Fair enough. And I mean, I can agree that Death Realm is usually pretty insufferable to play against. I think it would be fine if it didn't also steal like 30% of your stats. Like, I think it's totally fine to just pull you in the Death Realm. I think that's a cool mechanic. But it's like he also gets stronger and I get weaker.
It's not really a fair. It's not a fair one-on-one for sure.
No, it is not. He pulls you into the Death Realm. He pulls you right out of all your strengths. And that's very, very annoying to play against.
And I also just don't really agree with the decision to take away the ways to outplay it, right? You know, the QSS, the the GP oranges, like especially if you're buying QSS, like you're already kind of putting yourself on the back foot. You know, you're spending 1,300 gold to get out of a Mordor, right? Maybe I'm not. It's like you're already hurting yourself at that point. You're buying a pretty useless item. I think they should have kept that in the game for sure, but unfortunately they did not, as I think you were about to give us your least favorite champ, as we got a little bit of time.
Yeah. I'll go quick. Mine, number one all-time least favorite, Yone. I think the champ just does way too much. He's got like 40 dashes, hybrid damage. It's like shields and stacks, and I don't know. I can just never manage it. I think he's crazy. Absolutely can't stand playing against him.
Yeah, Yone for sure. Very fun champ to play. Very not fun to play against most of the time. Taking a look at our summoners here. Once again, nothing too crazy that I am seeing. You know, both these top laners going for grass. The Skarner going for the grass. Likely going to see a lot of heart seals coming out, which I'm a big fan of. I'm a big fan of the clanks. I'm a big fan of the dopamine that's released when I hear that item pop. But we are out onto the Rift here for game number 2, and we'll see. Looks like again just a little bit of a 5-point.
Yeah, probably the same as game 1. They want that information. The only rune that I think is kind of surprising is the Vel'Koz took this Dark Harvest. So, and it is the Pokevarus, by the way. We're talking about that earlier. They got the Arcane Comet. Wisdom started the Longsword, so likely building right into those lethality items. They are going for kind of this double poke bot lane. They want to try and make Thulem's life horrible before this Jinx can get any items and kind of scale into those team fights. So, interesting summoners from the Evoker bot lane. But besides that, pretty standard from what I'm seeing all around the board.
Well, and it's really got to be a little bit of like retribution, right? For the things that Thulum did to the bot lane of the Evokers last time. Just from the get-go, Wisdom was not allowed to have fun on the Jinx. So they're saying, hey, I'm not letting you have fun this game either. As we are going to see Junglos again starting on opposite sides of the Rift. But this time, both sides are starting on the red buffs.
Yeah, so just an opposite mirror of what we saw in game 1, but same scenario. So we should see any early contests over the Scuttle Crabs. Oh, but early fighting in bot lane.
Yeah, early fighting. Yeah, not sure why the Monkeys logo was so far out there. That one is fixed. We'll grab the team names when we get a second. But for right now, you guys know Open Nexus is on the blue side and Nefarious is on the red side. Not sure what happened there, but yeah, a little bit of action early. Again, we're probably just gonna see some full clearing. Skarner, of these two tank junglers, will definitely need to make some action happen. Gotta get those creative ganks off. You've got this Vyar, you've got this this Jinx you want to play towards, and so we'll see how they look to do it. As despite playing this aggressive, Varus Vel'Koz, early advantage to the Open Nexus bot lane.
Yeah, I mean, Thulum is kind of just walking up, confident, taking control once again. We'll see if that changes, maybe, once we get more abilities on the side of the Evokers. But if I'm this Skarner, like you were talking about, I definitely want to play towards this bot side. I see a Varus Vel'Koz. Both of them have no dashes. They're pretty slow. If we burn those flashes early, if he's able to get a good gank off, then this will be a very easy to gank bot lane, honestly, for either team. Depending on when Angel gets down here too, we can see a lot of early action on the bot side of the map.
Yeah, and it's surprising that we're not seeing more of this top lane so far. Again, Direct-to-Cam loves these big, meaty boys in the top side smacking each other around. As I say that, Roofer going to walk in, going to get interrupted on the Q, but getting the grass proc off, so they won the trade overall. And yeah, going to see Skarner actually path up towards the Ornn, which is interesting to me.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely would. My instinct would be to play towards the Jinx, the winning lane, but maybe they said, we know Thulum's got it. They want to play towards this Ornn, make sure the Scion doesn't get a lot of lane prio. So, kind of interesting choice there, but I can definitely see the angle. They're very confident in their AD carry.
Yeah, very confident. Again, if you look at the stats page, I believe Thulum's in the top 5, maybe 10 worst case overall players in commercial this season. So very strong player. And we are going to see Sar Selects going for that gank on the Azir. Not going to be able to get the E to connect. Just fishing, reminding this mid laner that, hey, I can get you from anywhere.
Yeah, and kind of a bad position here for the Evoker bot lane. It looks like Thulam and I don't know how to say the support name there, but the Jinx and Melio, they do kind of concede the lane push. They knew that that Angel was bot side, so they're kind of letting it push in. We see a little bit of that lane control going back to the Evokers, but they're both kind of running out of resources.
Yeah, running out of mana, and the wave actually is just going to get cleared out here by Thulam, so not going to be in too bad a spot. But yeah, they're going to have to take a reset here at some point, and they're either going to have to, sack a wave to do so, as Free Truck going to get a good trade here onto Rufu, who is getting relatively low. Ornn did use the teleport, so has the health advantage, has the mana advantage. Q is going to connect here. Does have a W coming up. Could they look to kill this Scion in a solo kill? We are going to see the flash for flash trade top. Unfortunately, not physically see it, but we see it on the mini-map. We do see it on the chat log. Flash is traded, but no kill.
Yeah, I mean, well played micro already from Free Trek. I've seen a couple times with the Unstoppable kind of dodging that Scion knockup or canceling the knockup itself. So really good micro from these top laners. They clearly know how to fight, and they're getting right to the knife's edge when it comes to those health bars. So really fun lane to watch, but usually not a lot of kills.
Yeah. These are, in fact, 2 tanks. That might have been our one chance to see a kill in this early action. We are going to see again. Solid trade there from Rufru. Has the Bambi Cinder, whereas Ornn sitting on just a Ruby Crystal and a refill pot. As Skarner going to start up this dragon solo, we'll see if Angel can sniff it out, because that's going to take a long time for Sar Selects to kill.
It is, but I mean, now Thulam and Melio can walk over. They're trying to pressure the lane, get the wave crashed, and that Chemtech Drake will go over to the open Nexus. They get this first dragon again, basically no contest. We'll see if Angel wants to go for these grubs maybe soon. They do have the top prio right now, where mid lane's kind of even. They could try to play towards top side.
Yeah, that definitely went down way quicker than I was expecting, that dragon. I guess the Skarner damaged a little more than I was giving it credit for. Amumu definitely can go up and play for these grubs, I think. You've got the health advantage. Really in both solo lanes, as Famalam gonna get that reset interrupted. And Amumu should be close to level 6 as well. I definitely think, this 3v3 skirmish, it would be more advantageous to have the Amumu R, as Rufu going to sniff out the Skarner, going to get the knock-up with the Q, is doing a lot of damage now. Unstoppable, pushes him against the wall. Skarner has to get out. No mana on the side of the Scion, but now Vyre TPing into the pit by themselves, and they got to get out here. Cage is going to connect. Amumu hits the Vanish Toss. Not going to be able to keep this one going. They are going to start up the grubs here. Amumu will get 6 off it, and Rufu just going to look to zone out the Skarner. He's chasing them into
really
the jungle.
Well played.
He does not care. Skarner has to flash out. Sion going to keep this going. Not going to be able to pick up the kill. Forcing out the Skarner flash. And that is going to be that trade of objectives. Grubs for Dragon that we saw last time.
Yeah, I mean, this Scion has been a menace so far. Using the Unstoppable Onslaught, keeping Star Selects off those early grubs for Angel to get there and get all 3 grubs. Mumu takes them so fast with the AoE damage. So really well played by the top side of the Evokers right now. And the bot lane's a little behind, but at least no early double kill. They're holding their own this lane, and they're kind of stopping the bleeding on the bot side. So honestly, well played by Evokers so far.
Yeah, again, you can see they have that slight gold lead. Again, a lot of that attributed to the this top lane CS, this Amumu CS. Pretty much CS leads across the board outside of the bot lane. Of course, Ornn gonna be able to pick up a lot of that CS under the tower, but a solid game state here for both sides.
Yeah, just about a 600 gold lead it looks like for the Evokers, so nothing too crazy, but in the early game they do have a very slight advantage. The Amumu did just get hit level 6, now has access to that Curse of the Sad Mummy. That is a really big playmaking tool, especially if they can make it onto Thulam. If they get a good bandage toss in those fights, and maybe Milio's not there to cleanse it, they definitely have some good angles. And so far, just some item components, no completed items yet. It looks like Famalam is going for that Rod of Ages. Very strong pickup right now. But overall, scaling, pretty even game state.
Now, I'm not exactly sure what happened, but it does look like Thulam had to use their flash despite everyone being full HP. I didn't actually catch what happened there, but that should be like a massive, alert on the side of NX Angel on this Amumu to get down there and make something happen. As again, these tanks just going to smack each other around. No flashes just yet. Ornn going to dash back in. Do they look to pop the Ornn Horn? They're considering it. W not going to connect their Scion, doing a lot of damage. Not going to be able to hit up on that E. Are going to be used there by Scion first. Should have a Q coming up here in just a second. Ornn Horn is going to get used, dodging out on the Scion Q. Gonna interrupt. First blood over to the free truck, and they will not get traded. Maybe Scion going to go under the tower. Does not have the speed to keep up. First blood over to this Ornn. And we're not actually done yet, as MXL looking to hit up a massive seismic, or massive shuffle, maybe under the tower. Star Select's going to deny it though.
Yeah, they look like they were looking for something there. I think MXL might have had the angle, but it was a little risky, being so close to the tower. Does have the flash ups. Maybe they could have looked for something. But I just want to say I'm impressed by this top lane micro so far. These are some fun fights, very long, extended trades, but it looked like I didn't know who was going to win that for the majority of it. And it is the free truck who comes out on top, but I really think that could have been either way. And the Scion, almost gets him in the death passive, but unable to kind of pick up that kill. And now we're back to the even lane state. Only one kill in the game so far, about 10 minutes in.
Yeah, of course. Rufru, I believe last season was their first time in the LBLCS, had a really good performance in Econ last season. Now up in commercial and still having pretty solid performance overall. Gonna take up a couple tower shots there though, and Star Selects is here with the E, is going to suppress this Scion, who is going to do Scion gameplay, run away, try and catch the wave, going to fall to the Ornn. Now 2 kills for this Ornn early, and the wave goes away. Not much for them to do, as Dragon spawning on the other side. I would expect Angel to immediately head for that.
Yeah, and honestly, that's kind of catastrophe for the Scion here. Doesn't really get any of the wave, gets about a couple minions in the death, but not really much gold out of that. Didn't have the unstoppable onslaught to run away, which we see a lot. Scions will kind of run behind the tower. They'll just R away as long as no one's there to block them.
Flash out there from the Melio, has to pay respect, was walking up a little aggressively, and now we see the, again, Dragon for grub trade here by both sides.
Yeah, and actually this is a little bit different than what we saw in Game 1. In Game 1 we saw the Open Nexus get both early Dragons, so now it is 1-1, with both teams having 3 grubs, so a lot more of an even game state. And honestly, we kind of just have an advantage on the top side for the Open Nexus right now. The bot lane here is also pretty even, which I think is a testament to how much better Wisdom and Prescription are playing bot lane this game.
Yeah, right now our gold lead, again, dead even. Objectives dead even, as Prescription getting pretty low here. Varus not able to get up all this damage. They are going to try and continue this extended fight. Thulam is getting pretty low here. Will they drop? We will not see, because we're back to the top side watch, and these two fight it are up. Seismic or Sunfire Age is completed for the Scion, so the extended trade should go in their favor. But right now, we are just going to continue to see them smack back and forth. Probably just trading for a couple grass procs. This is really what top laners live for when you're in these tank versus tank matchups. And no kill in the bot lane overall. I say that, and now Wisdom gets popped against the wall. Traps pinned him, and they almost had the damage on the piercing arrow as well, but it doesn't end up getting any action.
Yeah, kind of out of position there a little bit for Wisdom. Wanted to hold the wave, and Thulam being so low, thought they could kind of pressure it. So well played, good kind of instinct there, but does have to blow the flash to avoid dying. But yeah, we are seeing a lot more pressure drawn from the bot lane now that Wisdom and Prescription are on something a little bit more aggressive.
Yeah, one thing we haven't really talked about at all this game, these mid laners just kind of scaling it up. They're just farming it out. Vigar, again, working on that Roa, already at 2 stacks of the 10. Azir on that Nash's Tooth, feels very good on this, attack speed-based champion. And yeah, not a whole lot of action from your junglers either just yet.
Yeah, I think the next objective will be this Rift Herald here, but it's actually pretty darn close to also the Dragon spawn. Just at about 2 minutes 30 for both of those. We might see another trade. I'm hoping we see kind of a more of a skirmish around there.
Ooh. The shove going to be used. The shuffle going to be flashed out by Famalam. That is a big cooldown there. could be something to take advantage of at this next potential objective fight. Like you were mentioning, 2 minutes on both of them.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really important ability. The flash on the Vigar is huge. If Famalam walks up out of position, that could be a really good catch angle. They do have the Varus R, they have the Azir Shuffle. Those could be really valuable tools to kind of catch out this now flashless mid laner for the open Nexus.
And Angel is fishing. Can they get the bandage toss to connect? No, they cannot, but solid damage coming through from MXL nonetheless.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always terrified of this Azir champion. So we're talking about champions we don't like playing against. I usually don't like playing against an Azir. His late game scaling is just so strong. That damage can be so scary. It always makes me anxious to see it on the other team.
Yeah, I may or may not have just lost a competitive series last night to an Azir. Very, very strong late game scaling monster. That being said, very fun to watch from a spectator perspective, though. The shuffles are very exciting.
Yeah, lots of those cool plays with the shuffles. Especially when you get the flash in there, you can get really across the map.
Wisdom, the most aura I think I have ever seen. Does not care that the Skarn is coming up. They got the ward, they dodged out from the Impale, and they are chilling.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they knew. Oh, Ornhorn
gonna get used up there. Is gonna get the knock up now into the brittle proc. Jay's top laner is just trading another brittle proc going to come through here. Flash in for the Ornn. Follow flash there by the sound. Able to get out. No E for the free truck. And so these trade of flashes not gonna be able to pick up those feats of warfare.
Yeah, I mean, it is about a 30 CS lead here, actually, for Rurfu now. But the 2-kill advantage is over to free truck. So still very even. Very scrappy fights there. And they're right back to it.
Right back to it. As someone is going to die here momentarily. No mana left on the Ornn. No health left on the Scion. So I'm not sure how this one goes. Massive Q actually not doing as much damage as I would have expected. These are 2 tanks, and Scion going to show the fancy feet. Going to try and use the knock up against the wall. Try and buy them the time. The W shield actually doing a lot of damage. And I think that might actually go the way of Scion. But we're not going to get to see it because we're going up to the top side, or to the bot side. Skarner is here. They're trying to get onto the Scion. They do have the flash. They are going to flash, dodging out on the rocks. Heartsteel, they're going under the tower. They are going to be able to pick up the feats of warfare, and that is 3 kills to nothing, courtesy of Sarcelex.
Oh, that's such a sad way for that to end too. It's such an honorable duel, 1v1, both top laners going for it, and then Sarcelex had to come by and just end it all. But understandable, fair point.
Oh, Prescription has to flash away. They're in a bad spot here. They're just getting ran down with the vision. Flash in from Thulam, and that's going to be a kill. The monster feat is picked up for the side of the Evokers, but that's another kill for the open Nexus, who flashed in from Angel, not going to be able to connect the bandage toss. Q from Emilio going to knock them back. No answer on the other side, as Rift Herald going to be picked up by the open Nexus.
Yeah, so I correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's the feats of strength go over to the next turret then, right? Because we haven't had a first turret take. The open Nexus have the feat of warfare, and the feat of objectives just went over to the Evokers. Correct. So I think this tower right here might be the deciding factor. It looks like it is. They have the upgraded boots now.
That they do, and this is some classic Silent gameplay. Wrong side of the rift, gets hit up by the Ornn. Going to take a lot of damage here. Gets just trying to do what they can to survive. Not going to be able to do it enough. Skarner and Ornn shredding through. Killing spree now for the free truck, who is just going to walk up for this next wave and collect their farm.
But got the grasp stack, got a couple minions, so that's a win there. The flash is actually coming up on Famalam. We talked about that earlier. I think it's just about 10 seconds away by my estimate there. So probably we'll have it for this next fight. However, Thulam, speaking of flashes, does not have flash on the Jinx, which might make the Jinx here an easy target for some Azir shuffles or some Amumu bandages. We'll see how they can play around
Thulam is aggressing on this Jinx, going to pop the Super Mega Death Rocket, not going to be able to pick up a kill, and now Prescription here on the side. MXL maybe looking for a flash shuffle onto the Jinx, but there is no follow-up. They're just too far.
Yeah, it looks like they keep finding these angles, finding these plays, but not really being able to kind of actually act on them. I think I'm looking for Evokers to kind of send it here. They're kind of quietly getting a little bit of a gold deficit here. It's just about, by my math, about 3k, just under 3k. Or, yeah, about 2. About 2k gold lead there for the open Nexus. So kind of quietly scaling into this game. But I think we need to see some more proactivity from the Evokers.
Yeah, that being said, they do have those 2 dragons, so they are stacking towards a Infernal Soul, which we saw last game, how heavily contested that was. Rift Herald still in the pockets of Star Select, so we'll see if they look to try and open this mid lane turret with the Jinx. Dragon in about 2.5 minutes as Sion gonna get collapsed on here by the Skarner, gonna have to hand over the leash on the Gromp.
Yeah, good knockup out of vision there. But Rufu definitely confident with this character, you know. Sometimes you like die a couple times and you're like, oh man, I just gotta like sit back, I gotta not die, I gotta focus on team play. But very much not.
Good pull there. Ooh. No flash on the Skarner or the Vel'Koz, and Pale gonna connect. Donating the kill over to Thulam. Massive play there for this Skarner. 6-0 now goes your kill count.
Yeah, and I mean, actually in that fight too, the Milio kickback, the Milio soccer ball did stop Angel's engage. So Angel wanted to go in there, could potentially have a really big ultimate for this Azir to play off of, but denied by the open Nexus support. So very well played. I like the micro that I'm seeing in these games. They're clearly some very confident and talented teams.
Yeah, pretty solid stuff overall. The mid tower does go down courtesy of this Jinx, who is, again, not quite as maybe rich as they were on the Sivir, but they are in a pretty solid spot. Adicon gets started up here on the top side. It is the Voracious once again, and I do not like this. Well, I like this call to walk it out. I will put it that way.
Yeah, it's definitely known for being a throw central, as Angel may be looking for
Angel's looking for a big curse this time, Mommy, but they are just getting chain CC'd. Massive shuffle does get multiple people, including Thulam, who looks like they are falling on the top side, but this play is going all the way to the Evokers. There's just no consistent damage. 3-0 so far. Make it 4 on the Rufru, and Prescription just has to watch as their team has fallen. Double kill for Thulam. 10-0 goes your kill count, and now the Voracious Adicon is your reward.
Oh, such tragedy there. They almost got Thulam. He was so low on the other side after the Azir shuffle, but the Milio keeps the Jinx alive. The Jinx kind of runs it over. 1 reset, 2 reset, all the attack speed, guns start blazing, and that fight is over. And like you said, the Otacon here is the prize. That was a very close team fight, though. Even from a few thousand gold down, the Evokers were making it happen. You can see already how low these health bars were. Maybe they can just fight over this next dragon and look for that soul. I think that's their angle back into this game.
Yeah, but importantly to note here for this fight, Thulam's flash coming back up on this Jinx, and they have the revive. So even if you're able to get on this Jinx, even if you're able to pick up the kill, quote unquote, they're just going to go back to their base and come back in 20-30 seconds. Very tough spot for the Evokers. We'll see if they look to start up this dragon. Prescription is currently on it, but looking to just kind of get some words, I believe.
Yeah, they want to try to get it set up. Both the tanks are on the top side here. Rurfu does not have the teleport, but Free Truck does. So there's a little bit of an advantage there on the top side.
Oh, Skarner going to go over the wall. A lot of damage onto this Azir. Going to chunk him out pretty heavily. Got to make this contest in a 4v4 that much tougher. And there's the teleport for the Free Truck. It's going to be a 5v4. Rufru is here looking for a big R over the top. You can see him walking down, and Pale going to connect onto 2. Wisdom is caught in that. Your Varus is dead, and before the fight even starts, 2-0. Prescription trying to do the damage they can with the Vel'Koz R over the top. Rufru is a massive meatball, providing frontline for this Azir, but it's not enough. Double kill for Famalan. Prescription has to flash away on the top side. 3-0, and no revives were procced.
It's so sad. They had a really good angle into that fight. I think that Angel just died a little bit. Angel and Wisdom both died a little bit too soon before Rurfu could get there. He did get like the knock-up, the CC chain on the whole team. So it was really good play there in terms of lockdown. I think the fight just started a little bit earlier than the Evokers would have wished.
Yeah, very solid stuff here from the Open Nexus, who are going to continue to push with this Adicon, use their last little bit of advantage. 7,000 on that gold lead. These turrets are starting to crumble, and yet next objective in 2 minutes, Baron on the table.
Yeah, we can see already lots of items. Most people in the game are on their second, even building towards their third item here. We can see this Jinx does have the Infinity Edge upgraded by the Ornn, as well as the Yuntal Wild Arrows, so really strong core. Looks like both the carries for the Open Nexus are very strong and well set up for these team fights.
Yeah, vision control being set up by prescription by the Evokers. They're trying to set up around this Baron. They're trying to make it hard, or at least they can have an idea of the open Nexus walking in. But yeah, I mean, this Skarner's very beefy. This Ornn very tough to kill. And again, Famalam and Thulam deathless so far this game. Scion might be getting interrupted here. Milio going to take a decent amount of damage. This is a Scion at the end of the day. 4 Meatballs fighting up here on the top side, but Jinx is here first. Impale going to connect onto both, pulls him over the wall. Ornhorn going to get popped here. Angel is just dead. Thulam is now dominating. Scion pops the unstoppable, but Skarner is here. Not going to force the issue. They're trying to push in the top tier 1.
Yeah, but Rufru might have wanted to change that ult further on. Now it's probably just going to die here.
Yeah. Does get popped, and this tower will be quick to follow. Scion trying to clear out the wave to make that tough, but you've got this Ornn to tank up that turret for a couple shots, and they might just keep going here instead of opting into this Baron up in 20 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, staying under the tier 1 at this point in the game is pretty risky. There's a lot of HP bars. They can tank those tower shots. They can just dive you, and that's exactly what we saw with the Scion, who, to Rufru's credit, is playing this game very well, but just sadly is no match for the amount of damage and the amount of bulk on the side of the open Nexus.
Yep. Tier 2 top now going to fall. Looks like a reset coming off here. Instead of starting up this Baron, they're playing it kind of methodical on the side of the open Nexus. They're going to just not take any unnecessary risks, perhaps. Although they cancel the reset, so they might just make me eat my words here.
Yeah, it looks like they might be sticking around. If they do start the Baron, I think they are far enough ahead. They can fight it. I don't think they need all of their health bars to try and win a team fight here, as long as they play it correctly. But I don't think we can ever really discount the Evokers. They do have those big tools, the Curse of the Sad Mummy, the Azir Shuffle, like we've been talking about. There is an angle for them to still win a team fight. It's just probably really hard at this point.
Yeah, it will be tough. Again, it will have to be kind of a miracle, and that is what you need if you are a Nefarious fan. You lose this game, your season is unfortunately over. And it is a bit of an uphill climb for Nefarious here. But you've got Dragon in a minute 40. You've got this Amumu. You've got the Flash coming up. So you've always got a shot.
Indeed. And no matter what happens, obviously I'm hoping for a game 3. I think that we've seen some really good play today. I would definitely be very proud if I was the Evokers. Particularly that Azir Shuffle was really good in that one last fight. The Scion's been all over the map. So, but not out of it yet, for sure. Like I said, they always kind of have an angle. Even though there's no kills on the board, that can definitely change really quickly in these team fights. And I'm definitely hoping they can find that angle they need.
And this is, Prescription is just pulled back in. No counterplay. Sarselect's now on a killing spree. Angel's getting shredded by this Jinx. And yeah, this is the direct-to-cam gameplay that I love to watch. Just watching these massive tanks fight for 45 seconds at a time. Mid tier 2 has fallen, and the Baron looks to be their next move.
Yeah, I mean, with the support dead, they don't really have a lot of vision control for Evokers to try and walk into it, so might be a good time to start the objective here for the open Nexus. They definitely have an angle too, as they have shove in both side lanes as well. It's a pretty easy invade here to try and kind of bait another team fight.
Yeah, they're actually going to play for this this Dragon instead. And potentially, I mean, there are spot out in vision, so it's hard to, sneak a Baron. But you have this Varus, you have this Azir in particular. Could potentially look to do it, but it's going to get sniffed out here, and Open Nexus is looking to answer it.
Yeah, kind of all over the map.
Vel'Koz again gets caught out. Not going to die this time, but they are going to go down half HP. And now Scion is here with the ult. Flash in for the Skarner to try and body block for their Jinx. Jinx has no flash. Emilio goes down courtesy of the Azir. And this could be the fight that the Evokers needed. Vel'Koz's arc does get interrupted. This fight is so scattered, and Pale only connects onto one. Shut down there for Prescription. Onto the Skarner. Angel is going to drop, but they got the damage off with the fire just before they do so. Famlam has to flash away. The free truck has to get out. 2 for 1 overall. And that was the opportunity that they needed. Can they look to continue this damage? Going to come through from Wisdom. They do not have any junglers on either side, so it's so hard to do this Dragon, but they're going to push up on this mid lane turret.
Yeah, I mean, crucially took out the Emilio at the beginning of that fight. That was exactly the angle they were looking for, exactly the angle they needed. This gold lead is still not great, but those are the types of fights that I think can go so well for this team. Like I said, it's about execution, and they executed very well in that mid lane fight.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see how they look to approach this dragon. Again, a lot of the tools in the shed were used there, and Vigar has come back in. Heal gets used from prescription to get them out. Big summoner down, but Vel'Koz is pretty low here, and so they're gonna have to reset, which could give an opportunity for the Open Nexus to just take this dragon.
Yeah, this could be a little bit of a split fight now. If I were the Evokers, I would say probably just give it. It's only third dragon. It's not the soul yet. Might as well just get stronger and try to play that next team fight. Maybe around this Baron, if they can go get that set up kind of in the meantime here.
Yeah, it is going to be slain nice and quick. Infernal Soul on the map in 5 minutes. Baron on the table right now. Could see another team fight, or we could see things stall out for these CDs, these summoners to come back up.
You know, there is no flashes on the Open Nexus carries right now. The Vigar and the Jinx both missing them. So this could be an angle if they are able to get that shuffle this time. MXL does have the flash up, so kind of a guaranteed engage.
But Angel gets hit up there by the Skarner E. Impale going to come through. Only hits onto the Amumu, but Amumu by themselves will still get shredded, put in the cage. Thulam is now godlike, and that should be Baron over to the side of the Open Nexus.
Yeah, the worst member you want to get caught when Baron's up is the jungler, so the Open Nexus do find the exact person they want waiting in the jungle for them. This will be likely the Baron just over to the Open Nexus, and that will provide a lot
with the
more
Vel'Koz with the steal! Prescription saving the game for the Evokers. Objective bounties are falling. Look at Sion on that bot side too. They're able to pick up the mid tier 1. Sion's picking up that bot tier 2. That is absolutely massive for Nefarious.
Well, they made me eat my words so fast there. The Vel'Koz R does take away the Baron. That's so much pushing power, like you said, for the Sion. I know that Azir can shred towers. They do have 3 grubs too. This is, I think, the way to get back in the game. That 8,000 gold lead is now cut in half. That is just about 4,000 lead now. This is definitely a swing back in the favor of I'm losing the words. Swing back in favor of the Evokers. That was a crazy play. I'm shocked here. Yeah. Prescription definitely kind of pulls the game back.
I mean, I saw Objective Bounty and I saw the Varus Azir in the mid lane, and I thought that's what that was for. And then all of a sudden, Prescription with the hero play. They're not ready to go home here tonight. They steal the Baron, secure 2 towers for their team, courtesy of that Baron push. And we might have ourselves a whole new ball game. And now again, gold lead's still 4,000, and you've got this soul coming up in 3 minutes. But I'm curious to see if Nefarious can get anything else done with this Baron.
Yeah, I hope they can. It looks like Rurfru is going for this top tier 2 turret, if they're kind of able to play for that. But they probably want to set up more towards bot side. The dragon is up in about 2 minutes and 30. So maybe they're kind of looking to just split the map. If they can split up the Open Nexus, that's always a better angle. So looks like they're trying to keep the pressure on, but maybe won't get too much more before this Baron buff's gone.
Yeah, that being said, it was still a massive win. Just going to contest over this mid lane, try and make it hard for Jinx to push up. Jinx, of course, it will have the flash up. It looks like just about everyone's going to have all their summoners for this dragon fight. So we'll have ourselves an honest 5v5. Yeah, very, very exciting stuff.
Agreed.
Prescription gonna get slowed up there, has to use the flash, but the Jinx Death Rocket still gonna be enough, and now Angel is stuck in a bad spot, has to run out here. Good dodge on the Impale though, showing the fancy feet on the little mummy, and now Sarsalak's taking a decent bit of damage from this Azir.
Yeah, I mean, that was bad, but it could have been a whole lot worse if they had allowed the Jinx to get excited off another takedown, but we're back to just watching top lane. But if the Jinx could have got another takedown, that would have been very disastrous. So honestly, good job kind of mitigating that threat from the Evokers. But yeah, kind of a big mistake there from Prescription. Loses the flash, is able to take him down. I will say that Super Mega Death Rocket did way more damage than I thought it would. This is a 4-item Jinx, so you know, nothing if not damage from this character.
Yeah, very, very strong. Jinx, again, has that 700 gold shutdown, has the 4 items completed. Varus should be on their 3rd item here on this reset, maybe that Mana Mune, which does get upgraded to the Mirror Mana. Taking a look at items across the board, got a couple Brambles on the side of Nefarious. Vel'Koz, or not Vel'Koz, Azir on 3 items, Vigar on 3 items. Has that decap, though. Very, very scary stuff.
Yeah, not only the death cap, but the upgraded death cap by this Ornn. So a little extra scaling on the side of the Open Nexus. They are definitely pretty evenly matched in these items. About 3 items.
Prescription trying to walk up and get vision control, but the Impale in the cage just going to delete this Vel'Koz, and you are not that tanky on the Vels. Teleport coming through. Angel is getting stunned up against the wall. Has to try and pop the curse. That moment to buy time for their team. That's a double kill over to Thulum, and this is just going to go all the way up the Jinx. A massive 5-man shuffle, but it's not going to be enough. Triple kill for Thulum, who was trying to do the damage they can. They flash out, and now Roofer trying to get on top of him, but it's not going to do a thing. Flash in for Wisdom. Quadra kill over to the Jinx. Super Mega Death Rocket. No Penta for you. It is an ace, though, and that might just be game and might be series for the Open Nexus, but they are just going to do the Dragon instead.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a bad angle for the fight there for, honestly, either team. It was kind of a weird spot for them to meet each other, but does turn out really good. Thulum gets all those resets, gets almost the pentakill. But the last kill is taken. I don't remember by who actually, but
based on the spam things, I'm assuming the Vigar. I'm assuming the Vigar.
True. Got to add a little bit of flame there. Thulum almost had the pentakill, but like you said, might be the game here. The Jinx resets. Actually, no, they are backing off after that inhibitor. They kind of want to play it safe and steady. This Baron is going to be up here in just under a minute. It's probably what the Open Nexus is going to look for next.
Yeah, that mid inhibitor is down. Gonna have to somehow be answered by this Varus, by this Azir, probably most likely. We'll see what the miracle play is. Again, last time Baron was on the table, Prescription saved the game with the steal. Maybe Sarcelex is a little, gonna be a little more hesitant to kind of push and finish this this Baron with the risk of getting stolen again. We'll see where the last line of defense for Nefarious is. Gonna get spotted out. Angel gets hit up by that zap, doing a good amount of damage to a tank. Horn immediately gets used. Massive shuffle in, does connect on to multiple members, and this could be the little curse. This time only does get the kill onto the Jinx, and now Prescription is free firing with that ultimate, is able to burn up the Skarner, and now Rufru is onto this Ornn. All that is left is your Vigar and the Ornn. Double kill for Ornn, but that was the look. Azir potentially now saving the game for the team. Gets the flash shuffle onto this Jinx, onto this Melio. 3-2, but cannot do Baron with your jungler down.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what I was saying. It feels like they're always like on the back foot, but then they find those proactive fights. They found the really good Azir shuffle. They got Thulum out of the fight right away. That made it so easy for the rest of the fight to play out, and they actually get a winning fight while being down. Like, what was it? It was like 7,000 at the beginning of that. Honestly, yeah. Crazy. They're playing these champs really well.
Yeah, something around there. Massive play. You can see Jinx pinging out the flash, and what that's telling me is they're saying, hey, I don't want to do anything till I've got this back up. Very solid stuff there from Nefarious. They are keeping the game alive. They are keeping themselves in a solid spot. But yeah, this Baron up in... Well, it's Baron's up now. Elder in 3.5 minutes. If I'm the Open Nexus, I'm trying to end this game before Elder. I do not want to... With the way these last couple fights have gone, I'm not trying to leave it up to chance on an Elder.
Absolutely. I mean, Elder, they call it the great equalizer. Doesn't matter really how far behind you are. If you have the Elder buff, you have a chance. That execute, that true damage is so powerful. So, like you said, Open Nexus want to pressure the Baron. They don't want the game to last that next 3 minutes, and they're going to try hard for it.
Ornhorn is used up in the top side on the Azir. Not going to get a whole lot off. That is a massive cooldown used for a potential Baron fight. We'll see if Nefarious find a way to get in and kind of force the fight without that Ornhorn being up. As Skarner going to take a little bit of damage, not too much. As Amumu's picking up that curse, the Sad Mummy, they are looking, they are fishing. And Open Nexus knows they cannot be here right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's clear how much respect they're giving to the Evokers. Like, they're playing back. They're trying to keep their Jinx safe. They know that Jinx does have the cleanse coming up about now, but does not have the flash. So one good Azir shuffle, this Jinx might be dead, and that is a lot of their team fight power.
Yeah, I think it's crazy. Looking at this scoreboard, one of the more interesting scoreboards of all time. 27-6, but only about a 5k gold difference. Courtesy of all of those towers and all the shutdowns we've been seeing coming through. And again, it just feels like Nefarious keep finding opportunities to keep themselves in the game. Scion is down here at the Raptors looking for a flank onto Thulum, who does not have the flash, and this is what they needed to do. Absolutely massive play with a massive shuffle. Hits up one of 3 members, and MXL is get popped by the Vigar, but it does not matter. The Banish Toss Radic does connect onto the Vigar, but 3 for 1, including the jungler going down, including the Jinx going down, should be Baron over to the side of Nefarious. What a flank from Rufru.
That was awesome. Amazing unstoppable onslaught. Knows the Jinx still doesn't have flash. Is able to punish it extremely well. And this time, one of the junglers is alive, which means that this objective is takeable by Angel and by the Evokers. This is an insane game. I've never seen one that's like been this back and forth. And like you said, looking at the scoreboard, you wouldn't guess that they're now only 3,000 gold behind. It's kind of wild to watch.
Now, Elder is up in a minute. Jinx will have the flash. So, it's going to be a whole lot harder to make that play happen again. But with how these last, really the last 10 minutes have been going, it almost feels like momentum is in the side of red side here. Just, it feels like nothing can go wrong for him. As Scion is actually R'ing into a wall, it looked like, by the mini-map. But that'll be up for the Elder.
Yeah. So Elder, just about 35 seconds here. Both teams kind of scrapping over vision, trying to find out where the other team is, see if they can get better setup than the other team. And like you said, I really want to keep my eye on this Jinx flash, see how it's used, see if they can get Jinx 1 reset, because I think that is really going to be the difference.
Ornhorn gets used up here right away, not going to connect onto anybody. It is gunned down, but Angel gets caught, has to flash over the wall. Impale comes through as well, and that's going to be the jungler down before there's anything they can do for this Elder fight. And at this point, I think you just keep the side on top lane, and you just try to pressure the other side of the map and just try to weather the storm of a potential Elder Dragon. Should be picked up here nice and quickly.
Maybe we'll see a prescription ult steal, but I don't think they can get close enough to try for it, sadly. But that is the Elder Dragon over to this very scary side of the Open Nexus now. They have the full scaling of all their champs. They're getting towards those 5-6 item builds, and they do have that advantage. But importantly, Rufru does take 2 towers down on the top side, is going to just ult out. So that is even more gold in the pocket of the Evokers here. So
yeah, gold lead pretty small at this point. We will see how they look to approach this one. As very solid stuff for Nefarious. It does suck giving over the Elder, but you'll take that.
If they can wait it out, I think it's just about 2.5 minutes. So it's pretty easy to stall as long as they have the Baron buff too, as long as they don't kind of walk up and give them a fight.
Prescription has to flash out, but the Elder is just going to pop this Vel'Koz. That is a massive death timer, 50 seconds. We'll see if they can weather the storm in this 5v4. Elder should still be on the table for another minute or so.
I think a lot of it's going to be on these Baron minions. If they can keep the waves away from their turrets, it'll be really good. But Rufru is actually behind them right now, taking away their minion wave. Really good play. They'll have a couple minions here, but they won't have a full wave. I think they'll be able to clear it. This is a really good stall of time by the Scion.
Yeah, heads up macro from the Scion. You can't end the game if you don't have a wave. And so they are just going to try to waste the rest of this Elder time and let this Vel'Koz come back up.
This is a 42-minute game and counting. As this has definitely been a banger so far. It looks like this Elder probably gone soon, as Rufru probably saves the game there, honestly. Recalling and trying to defend might not have gone so well with the Elder buff up, but now I think we're looking towards these next set of objectives. This will be, what, the third Baron of the game here in 2 minutes 30, which we might see another fight before then, but could just be more scaling.
Yeah. Very insane gameplay. Another Ornhorn gets used, going to pop the shield, Edge of Night on this Varus. But that is about it. And again, big cooldown here. Jinx going to get a reset off on this tower. Potentially Angel looking to go in. Does hit up Curse that moment. It's only going to connect onto the Ornn. That Elder is still live. Shuffle in from Azir. They're trying to force the issue. Stopwatch goes through, but the prescription goes down. Evokers have fallen. All that is left is Roof from the bot lane, who is trying to just push on the spot side, but that is going to be the series for the Open Nexus.
Wow, what a banger last game, though. I thought the Evokers had it for sure after they had those two great team fights, after they were able to pull back that gold lead deficit. And I mean, honestly, just incredibly well played. The last fight there just didn't go so well. The Elder buff was almost over, but not quite. Still up there to get that reset for Thulam. And the rest is history whenever a Jinx is able to kind of get that first kill.
Yeah, I mean, you can take a look at that damage again. Thulam just wrecking havoc on the Jinx. 60,000 damage. Very, very close game back and forth. I think that the kill count did not reflect how that game was feeling. The momentum was for sure on the side of Nefarious there towards the end. But yeah, it's just that Elder had to be ticking down. I believe that Elder killed a Mumu. And ultimately, that is going to be a 2-0 series win for the Open Nexus, who are going to move on in the playoffs here in Commercial, where they're going to be taking on. Let me take a look at the bracket here. Oh, good. This is the first matchup, so we don't know who they're going to be facing. One of Team Backflip or the Rat Dojo will be their opponents in the next round. Very, very fun 2-0 series win here tonight, though, for them.
Yeah, it was a real pleasure to watch. I haven't seen these teams play before, and it was definitely a big ol' scrap. We saw both teams clearly had their own play styles, their own game plans, and for the most part, they played through it really well. I think that there was definitely an angle to get back in the second game. It just unfortunate circumstances with the Elder Dragon is what kind of I'll attribute it to there. But really fun game to watch. I'm really grateful to have seen these teams play.
Yeah, it was definitely a fun series to watch. If anyone from the Open Nexus is listening and would like to come on and I always like doing a little brief interview, just to kind of get the thoughts of the players. Again, this is a new team to the LBLCS, to kind of get, familiarize ourselves with them just a little bit. If you're listening, go ahead and hop into community and we'll pull you in. I'll pull one person, just one, and do a couple questions a piece, and then send you guys on your way with your Friday night. Give it just a minute here to see if anyone's looking to come through, and if not, we'll send you home just a little bit quicker.
I always like doing the interviews. I hope we get to talk to somebody.
If you had to give, so obviously, I think player of the series would have to go to Thulam. I mean, is there like a, but outside of that, like an unheralded maybe player of the series, who are you giving it to on the side of Open Nexus?
I would definitely give it to Sarcelex. Is that how we're saying it? Sarcelex. I think that the jungle tempo, while being a little behind in the early game on the Amumu, did kind of pull it back. I saw a lot get done in those team fights. The Skarner did miss a couple impales in the second game, but had a couple really, really good ones, especially at the end there. Was able to hook Angel, kind of bait that fight and win the game for them. So I'd say kind of maybe an unsung hero might be the Sarcelex with the Amumu and the Skarner.
Yeah, and it sounds like we might be having... And you know what? I know I said one person, but I am a pushover through and through. I see two people in there, and so we will bring two people up to the casting channel. Will take me a moment here to drag them both up. And we should now have both Thulam and, again, how do we pronounce your name? But first and foremost, jungler of the Open Nexus.
There's no correct way.
Sarcelex. No,
Okay.
There is a correct way.
Okay. Well, you unfortunately, when you go back and watch, there was a channel cash in to pronounce it as Sarcelex the entire time. So just keep that in mind when you go back and watch. It was not by choice; it was by force. But jungler of the Open Nexus is here with their captain and AD carry. 2-0 series win for you guys. How are we feeling?
It felt good. We definitely acted on our game plan. We were doing a lot of practice around like rotation on the map, so it was good. We kind of let it slip a little in game 2. We got scared. I mean, they were good opponents, and they put from a deficit. They were playing pretty well.
Great fight.
Yeah, I mean, we were kind of talking about how like that did not feel like whatever it was, like 24-9 in the kills at one point. It felt very, very competitive all the way up until the very end. Just tell me a little bit about, I guess, like the prep, right? Because what I kind of saw coming in was two teams, two very different identities. you guys seem to play through your bot lane quite a bit, whereas their team seem to be more kind of topside focused. You know, they're solo laners and their jungler. How did you guys approach that kind of like clash of identities?
Yeah, we've been working on our solo lanes in particular. We've been working on playing comfort picks and playing to minimize any losses while still keeping the mentality of trying to seize small opportunities where possible, because they know that the points, the way they're distributed, typically solo laners we play against are higher rated than our solo laners, and then we make up for it in the bot lane. So the real way we try to get around it is honestly through drafting. We do a lot of draft practicing. I mean, the first game was like the easiest team fight team I think you may have ever seen, right? It was, what was it? A Mumu, Ornn, Sivir, Yumi, Veigar. Like, none of those can go wrong. You just pop your abilities and the team fight should be won. So we got a couple things up our sleeves though for further down the playoffs. We're hoping to go all the way, so we're gonna try to keep some of our strats under the radar.
Of course, have to respect that. Bosky, I'll hand it over to you.
Yeah, I'm actually really happy because we were just talking before you guys came in here about who we thought maybe was like, we thought that Thulam, you were the MVP of the series, but like maybe besides you, we were talking about a secondary, and I said it was Sarcelex. So I'm really glad to have both of you here actually for an interview. I think that's really cool.
My
question to you.
Go ahead. I was gonna say I can't take credit in the bot lane alone. I got to give a shout out to my wife, Bjorny. She always carries me through the early game.
I definitely saw some really good Melio plays. Most of my eyes were on you, trying to keep those Jinx resets going. But I am a support player myself, so I love giving credits to the supports. So I'm glad you did that shout out too. But my question, pretty simple for both of you. What was your favorite play that you made in either game?
I have two. They're tied. One was there was a spell shield. I can't remember the ability, but I remember being very surprised that my old man hands were still able to get that reaction time on Sivir. But I spell shielded a very key ability, and then the second game, I attack moved on a ward in Tribush like 8 times in a team fight. So that was pretty good too.
Great moment. And what about you, Sarcelex?
I think for me, it was either the 2-person Skarner ult, which was definitely like that set the game completely rolling, or it was flashing in front of the Scion ulti to save Thulam. Even though that was a fight that I started, that was a bad fight, but it's fine.
The history books aren't going to remember that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So of course this is I believe this is our first time kind of getting to catch up with any with your team, right? I didn't see that you guys have been streamed before. I believe you guys are a new entity to the LBLCS. How have you guys been enjoying the season so far?
So first, we're new to LBLCS and we have not been streamed or on air or anything before. So, hi mom. And then 2, we're loving it. A lot of the teams we've talked to, I mean, everybody's been great. The community's good. Unfortunately, I'm not good at musical talent, but I was thinking of making a diss track for our opponent, but I can't do that. So I'll come up with something. Maybe I can get a little creative. Mm-hmm. Not the ones we just played. Good game to them, not after. But maybe for whoever we find we're playing next.
I think it's going to be PIL Country Pirates or whatever.
No, they're on the other side. We got swapped to 7th.
Yeah, so next round you guys will be facing off against either Team Backflip or the Rat Dojo, who I believe are playing tomorrow night at 9. Again, you guys are the first commercial game to be played here on Friday, so everything in the bracket has to be determined by Sunday. And I believe almost all the games are Sunday night, so should be pretty exciting. I believe there's some talks of the Red Zone coming back out, which for those that don't know in the Twitch chat, basically people are going to be sitting in the Discord community channel, or I guess the Red Zone, actual official Red Zone channel, and just kind of stream random games, not officially on the Twitch, but just kind of showcase a bunch of playoff series, get to pop in and just look and see like, hey, how's the TV naughty game going? How's the whichever the 46 different games that are happening Sunday night. It's a really cool time. I believe there should be an announcement about that tomorrow. And there should also be the booth coming up on Sunday, so maybe getting to talk about some of those playoff series, little Sunday brunch action. Of course, that should be a fun one tomorrow. Backflip, Rat Dojo, a lot of long-time LBLCS players in that series. Backflip have been, I believe they were out here watching tonight, so maybe they're looking to scout out their potential next round opponents.
we've got a history with backflip. I've only played 4 games this series, and the last one I played was against backflip where we lost. And then I went and moved, and so I missed the next like few games. But I've heard that we kept on playing against them a couple of times in scrims, so it'll be really exciting to see if it's them next time.
Oh, I love to hear that. So that should be exciting for sure if you guys do get that matchup again. Again, I think their matchup's tomorrow at 9. So late night action. You'll have to keep your eyes peeled and see who wins that one. Bosca, you got any other questions or anything?
I don't think so. It was really nice to talk to both of you. It's nice to meet the players after a series. We only see so much as a caster. We just see your gameplay. So it's really cool to hear your thoughts too. I'm glad we got to catch up with both of you.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah,
and congrats to our opponents. Good effort.
Yeah, very solid stuff from the Evokers, and I'll give you guys both go one at a time. So whoever wants to go first. Any final thoughts or shout outs to anybody watching? I know there were some fans in the chat chanting your guys' names throughout. Whoever wants to go first, the floor is yours.
Sark, you can take.
Oh, okay. I'm excited to hopefully at some point during the playoffs, probably not just play a tank jungler. I'd like to whip out one of my bruisers, probably. But I'll keep on trying to make good plays, and not at int, hopefully.
And not anyone in particular, but just good work to our opponents, and congrats on making it to playoffs. I'm sorry you didn't go further. If you wanted to, maybe you wanted to be done already. I don't know, but and then congrats to anybody else who wins their games tomorrow. Good luck. And Sunday.
Yeah, love to hear that. Again, playoff action is in full force at this point. Again, we do have a lot of series to be played this weekend. Keep an eye out for some announcements of some things that are going to be happening this weekend. And with that, I think we are all done here for some Friday Night League of Legends. Thank you for tuning into the Low Budget LCS. And as always, we will catch you next time.
All right, have a good night.